and welcome back to another episode of Original Box Sets DEADLANDS. Wee wee. That was actually pretty bad.
I'm not going to do any more woo woos instead. That's not good.
I'm sorry. I won't do that again. All right. Well, we're back, and I'm going to do some introductions. I'm Max, the marshal for this wonderful game, and we have two of our players this week. We have Sarah, who is playing Anne McDade.
Hi.
And Rusty, playing Ali the Hexslinger.
Hello, everybody.
The Father Cross has to work right now, and there's a lot going on in the world, and he is needed elsewhere because toilet paper needs to be stocked, I guess, but that's part of his... He works at a Publix. We have definitely... also, sad news, if you didn't know, 2 episodes ago, we lost Soy Mage, who played Dr. Webb, to a job promotion. So, still hats off to him. And so we're going to be picking up our game session where we left off last. I believe Rusty was in the engine and Anne was a few cars back. I'm going to let Rusty give a description of what was going on in the engine. Do you remember it?
I remember it was nothing good. I don't remember the exact state of the engine, but yes, I believe I remember a Marvin the Martian style earth-shattering kaboom, or at least it was building up towards one, I think. I just remember, we did a pretty good job at saving people. We did a less good job at saving the engine. Was basically where my goalposts were, as I recall.
That's fair enough, and you are correct. Dog soldiers did a night raid on the train. Ollie had gained a strange premonition and started quietly warning people, making sure that there was quite a number of people who were able to survive. But unfortunately, the Indians were able to get a few of theirs on, and one of the most important was a young shaman who had made many sacrifices to be able to call upon some powerful, thunderous destruction. And he did so and attacked the engine using powerful magics to just sunder it, rip it to pieces. And Ollie, and I do believe Dr. Walters was there to stop him.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was Walters or Webb, but I remember they had a Gatling pistol. So yes, it was one of the Dr. W. Pinkertons, which honestly, they should share business cards. But yes, I remember there was some Daka going on.
Yes, it was definitely Dr. Walters. He's always in the right spot at the right time. Back in the train, though, during the whole event, some new recruits to the dog soldiers, as well as some other ones, were jumping on the train, attempting to hijack it, attempting to steal supplies, shooting in the train, and Anne was with Dr. Webb at the time. What were you two up to?
I think we were fixing Bixby. So I had pulled him back into the train from on top because he was injured. Mm-hmm. And I was using his blood as an excuse to get blood all over me since I was already kind of covered in blood. I'm just kind of staying and supporting Dr. Webb as he tries to patch him up.
Excellent. And so there was an Indian who was on top of the train that was engaging Bixby in a decent form of martial arts. They were shooting at each other, and he was swinging tomahawk, if I remember correctly. And then that's when Ollie and Walters came up dealt with him, and then ran past, and you and Webb stayed back. So that's where we're at this point in time. Now, if for our audience, you could probably go off and Google it if you really need to know, but I'm going to give a quick description of what an insides of a steam engine looks like. This is for the purpose of our starting part here. With the chassis is a long cylinder that ends in the housing in which the engineer stands in. The cylinder itself is made up of several chambers in which store water as well as fire, and then the water itself cycles in and out of a bunch of pipes passing around that hot fire to help get the steam hot enough to push the piston. So that's how it works. But when the shaman ripped it to pieces, he literally ripped 2 holes into the side, not knowing that there might be a better way to destroy it. He just assumed this was the only way to destroy it. And so when he ripped the holes in the side, he ripped them near the firebox itself, which tore up several of the lines and opened the firebox to the outside world while doing damage to the train itself. It doesn't look like the end of a gun that's been ripped open. If you've ever seen a gun...
He did Elmer Fudd it.
Yeah, he didn't Elmer Fudd it. He ripped large holes in it like an animal tearing into paper or leather. Just ripped sections out, and now there's pipes sticking out and fire coming out as well. The fire is still going. The engine's still moving. The engineer is on the floor of the house, and he is laying in a pool of blood. And the coal shoveler, the shoveler who has been up there, is off to one side. If you remember, Rusty, you ran up the side of the coal bin. You're on top of the coal bin.
Yeah, I was trying to get a clean line of fire.
And Walters ran along the side of the coal bin. And kind of like below you and slightly to the left is where that man is cowering. So, and by cowering, he has thrown himself onto the ground. He's hunched over. You can't hear him or anything over the sound of the engine itself.
I mean, it's kind of hard to blame him. Like that's fair. The guy was tearing chunks out of an engine with a tomahawk. Like, if this isn't your gig, this isn't your gig.
Correct. How do you decide, hey, I'm going to do something? Let's check to see what I've got. Oh, magically, a bowl of food has appeared. Look at that. It's delicious. Thank you so very much to the magical hands behind me.
You're welcome.
Ta-da. I mean, there's worse tricks to have than just randomly getting Chinese food out of...
Yes. All right. I won't distract for too long. That smells good. So he's down below you. The engineer is on the floor. He is moving. I just want to start off with that. He's moving, so it's not like he's just laying there like, oh man, could he already be dead? No, he's like wiggling. Because it's definitely a gut wound that he has. So I will start with you and Walters.
Ollie is just gonna holler, "Hey Doc, the engineer needs you," and like frantically point, because Ollie is not first aid man. He is not built for that sort of work. But there's a guy whose first name is Doctor hanging out right here. So yeah, let's get him up.
Okay. Walters will move forward cautiously toward the edge of the coal bin car, look up to you and say, "Is it all clear? There's no one. I can't see everything up over there."
Out of character, I believe it was, wasn't it? Like that was the last guy. Yeah, Ollie will give a confident nod. Yeah, we got the last of them, Doc.
All right. He will holster his Gatling pistol and quickly move over through the little chain bridge and rush over to the engineer's side. And he calls for you, saying, "I need some gauze and some padding. Go back to Dr. Webb and get either something from him or go get my medical bag from the business car."
On it. and Ollie will scamper down and hustle back towards other people in general and just see who he finds.
All right. Hustling back down through the series of cars, you get to the car which has all the horses on it. Now, are you going back up on top of the roofs? Or are you going to stay down?
I think I'm actually gonna, since I was already kind of up high, I'll try and get onto the next roof and hop my way back that way, just so he can also kind of have the high ground and keep an eye out.
All right.
At least for a couple of cars, get back to where I expect to find some people, but he'll stay up high and watch out for any more trouble.
Smoke and steam encase you as you move from the top of the coal bin because the engine itself is just spewing at this point in time. So as you move in that direction, you have cover and you get back several cars. You can hear the horses underneath you that are frantic at this point. And as you get to the end of that car carrying the horses, you can see the flatbed in which Dr. Webb and Bixby are at.
Hey, y'all. We need some help up in the engine. Engineer got himself gutted pretty good.
Bixby looks bad off as it is, as you can see that Anne has her hands pressed into his midsection, and in the darkness of the night, with still plenty of moonlight, some trees nearby, her whitish hands are blackened by the red color, and Webb has been telling you to put pressure. He's got a bag with him. He's doing things. He has actually started giving medicine to him and talking about how to move him back when all of a sudden you hear he's shouting from above you.
I look to Dr. Webb. Is there anything more I can do? I'm a fairly good sewer. I could maybe do some stitching.
If we can get him back to a lit car, that would be helpful. I'm going to need another man to help me out. Actually, if I remember correctly, Webb did have some strength to him, so Webb can attempt to carry. He yells up to Ollie, "In me and Dr. Walter's car, there's a black bag," and he points to the one next to him. "Like this. Take that to him. And send someone up to help us move Bixby."
Will do. And then I will scamper on down and go rushing, but Ollie will do a quick hat tip as he passes by Miss McDade.
I give him a worried smile.
She has blood on all parts of her. Bixby looks more like the color of her now. You rush past the two of them heading down the flatbed cars. As you leave them in the distance, you can, Anne, you hear what sounds like the engine is making a whistling sound, a constant whistling sound, and not one that you heard in the train station. So there's something going up. It doesn't sound, there's a lot going on, so you're taking in a lot at this point in time. And, Bixby reaches up to you at this point in time, and he grabs a hold of your shirt sleeve, and he says, through blood on his lips, "I'm sorry. I thought I had him."
You focus on healing right now. That's where your strength is needed at the moment. I have my hands kind of pressured, but kind of move my fingertips in a gentle little reassuring pat.
Okay. Webb pulls out a strange long device that you have never seen in your life. It is cylindrical. It's kind of clear and metal in bits, and the end of it comes to a very fine point. It's about as big as round as maybe one of your fingers, and he pulls from a bottle with a cork in it, some fluid, and then he starts rolling up the sleeve of Bixby and says, "This will take the pain off, and then it might even make you fall asleep." Small intestines.
I close my eyes and look away.
All right. Rusty, you are hauling butt across the cargo flats, and you make it to the car before the first class car. You can scale back, jump up, back up on top of the roofs, or just go shooting through.
I'm going to go through because this time I'm actually looking for some people also.
Okay.
And weren't the doctors in the first class car?
For their travel, no. They were in the business car, and
Okay.
Walters had characteristically always ventured back to the passenger car to drink and gamble and hang out with the lesser folk, as you would.
Yeah, I knew.
Yeah.
I knew they'd been hanging out with us. I just remembered they were somewhere towards the fancier end of the train. But like we've kind of seen where everybody's staying. So yeah,
Yes.
I'll just make my way towards their room. But yeah, like since I'm trying to also kind of check on people on my way back there, he'll go ahead and stay low this time.
All right, jumping down, entering the cart, you quickly dash in and hear the sound of caulking sound from the darkness ahead of you.
Easy, it's Ollie.
All right, you see Frank step out, and he goes, "You scared the hell out of me."
Yeah, well, you didn't do my britches no favors either.
He steps into the this car is dark at this point in time because it has no windows. It's got materials, for the cars and whatnot. So there's no windows. You can barely see him. And he steps over and he's just like, "Oh, you need any help up there? What else is going on?"
Yeah, we do. Both of the doctors got their hands full with folk. It's Bixby and the engineer up front. I'm off to fetch their medicine bag, but if you can get a couple men up there, we could use some help carrying people.
He gives a nod, turns, and heads back with you as he is going to help recruit. As you enter the first class car, it's lit and several of the windows are broken. Sitting on the floor in the front area is the bartender. He's currently bandaging the wound of the accountant, who is also on the floor. Looks like he got shot in the arm. To our luck, the large Mr. Vandenberg, he does not seem to have been injured in the fray. He too is assisting his friend who's on the ground.
Vandenberg was the banker?
Yes.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Vandenberg sees you guys enter and whatnot, and at this point in time, you notice that there's blood on the back of Malone's jacket. He's wearing like a shirt and a vestment and a jacket, and they're kind of like open and whatnot. And you can see that the characteristic point in his shoulder where there's a spot of darker red.
And this was on who? I'm sorry.
Malone. Frank Malone, the Pony Express rider, the one that Bixby hired to guard people.
Gotcha. Is anybody dealing with Frank? I know you said the bartender was patching up, so okay.
Frank's walking with you to get more people.
Oh, okay, I missed that. My bad. I thought it was new people in the new room. Well, all right then. I'll just say, hey, Frank, you stay here. Somebody slap a bandage on that real quick. I'm going to go fetch this medical bag, and I'll meet you back up on my way forward.
I apologize. My description fell short because the car you were in beforehand was dark, and now that you've entered a car that's lit, you can see that Frank, who was with you,
I can see that he's hurt.
Injured.
Yeah.
He looks to you and says, I've been hurt a lot worse than this. I'll be fine. It went clean through. Hit nothing important.
Well, I figure a splash of whiskey on there still wouldn't do you no harm. So just sit tight for a minute. I'll be back in a sec.
As you head at this point in time, so you're Frank tells the other menfolk in the room that there's help needed up in the front car. Vandenberg turns and says, "What kind of help is needed?" Which to Malone shrugs, says, "The two docs are up there putting people back together, I guess."
They're looking for some help carrying folk. I figure even you could do that.
He gives a nod. "I'll make my way that way," and he taps the bartender on the shoulder and says, "Make sure to give him something strong," and at which time you realize Vandenberg is tipping the bartender. Giving him like a tip. "Here, give my friend something strong to drink," and he's stepping out and walking past you.
All right, I figure even a broken clock can be right once or twice a day.
All right. At this point in time, you hear a voice from behind you. Allez!
Miss Lorraine.
Turning around, you see the door to the room that Lorraine is in. She comes out and immediately rushes over to you. Stopping in front of you, she grasps you by the hand. Are you okay? And,
yeah, I'm good. Let's walk and talk a little bit. And he'll kind of back away, but he'll give her a tug by the hand. Switch the rifle over to his offhand, and give her a little tug to we're just gonna go for a normal little romantic moonlight walk.
Sure.
To go fetch a medical bag in the middle of multiple Native American attacks, supernatural threats, train crash or whatever. It's
hasn't
normal.
crashed yet.
Yeah, it's working on it though.
All right. Moving into the business class car. There are a number of people around at this point in time, still watching out the windows and stuff like that. You enter. And as you're going, you're mentioning the 2 docs are up front. We've got some injured. Other people begin reporting back out. So-and-so has been shot. So-and-so has been nicked. Stuff like that. And so the word starts spreading. People start heading in different directions. You walk with her to their little sectioned off area, their little benchy area where their bags and stuff are. And she, as you pick it up and start rummaging through, she says, "What are you looking for?"
I need a medical bag.
She points up. Up. He's up.
Look. There we go.
All right. You fish out the bag, and in doing so, several of their other smaller bags and implements fall. In them, amongst them, a book lands on the ground. One that seems to be leather-bound, and it falls open. Strange pictures are the first thing you notice, like some sort of storybook. You're not really sure what you see. But the next thing that happens, make a quickness roll. Something else falls.
Okay. Let's see here. Just base quickness.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. This game has a skill called hand-eye coordination. Don't they? No, it's a stat. Deafness.
Yeah, I mean, there's deafness, nimbleness, and quickness. I think deafness or... I don't know. Am I trying to stop something from happening, or am I trying to do something?
From falling.
Okay. I can either one. Actually, it's your call. I'm pretty solid on both deafness and quickness. Spoiler alert. So, up to you.
Do deafness. Your target number is a fair. Also, this is me checking to make sure that I got the dice roller set up for everybody to see.
Yeah. All right. And I believe I put it in right. Exclamation, exclamation, keep 1. So I'm sitting on a 6.
Excellent. Which beats a 5. You grab a small bottle of whiskey that seems to fall down from amongst their stuff. Catch it in your hand.
Oh. Gift from heaven. And he will casually tuck it into a pocket. That's good luck. So he'll hold on to that. And then, out of character, I'm sorry, but it's been 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. Wasn't a fancy leather-bound book something that the Pinkertons took from Lorraine?
They did, but they gave it back as well. This is a separate fancy book, and there's a lot more important information why this one's appeared. Foreshadowing.
Okay.
Lorraine might argue that.
Then yeah, I'll shut it and tuck it back up on the shelf underneath something. So it's kind of up and away.
Okay.
But he's not going to care much about secondary bags. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, listen, I got the medical kit. I put their book away, so it's not going to get hurt. Because he had some experience with that Texas Ranger Bible. So he knows that books can have important stuff in them. Right. So he's got to be careful with that, but he'll pocket the whiskey and then tuck the medical bag under his arm.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
But what really happens is after you catch the bottle and you start putting things back, Lorraine has picked up the book and she's staring at it. And so she hands it back to you and quickly, oh, this was there. And so you put it back. But she helped as well putting things back that had fallen. So you get
no problem.
You grab the whiskey, the bag, and you begin heading back up toward the front of the train. We're going to skip back.
Yeah, and I'll tell Lorraine, I'm like, Miss McDade's towards the front too with the doctors if you want to come with.
Yes, I want to go with you. I don't want to be alone right now.
All right. So yeah, now you can jump up.
Thank you for that. All right. You are with him, and after he sticks his arm, it's a couple of moments that Bixby kind of seems to relax a bunch, and he's breathing. His breathing is there, and it's not good, and you know that for a fact, that it's really kind of shallow, and so you're just like, there might be some worry. But as you are there waiting for something to happen, Vandenberg coming onto the flat car with you guys was not what you were expecting. And to make it a bit more tense, as Vandenberg is walking up, he does have that tiny little pistol of his drawn out as he's walking. Not leveled at anybody, but just in hand. He sees the two of you. And do you want to say anything?
I kind of watch him cautiously out of the corner of my eye, but I start whispering a prayer, like just reaching out to God for guidance and help.
Okay. Well, Vandenberg puts the pistol away and calls out and says, "The ruffian sent me up this way saying you need help."
Dr. Webb needs help carrying Bixby into a brighter car so we can get him the help he needs.
Vandenberg nods and immediately takes off his outer jacket, showing that he's wearing like a blue jacket that has a blue shirt, long sleeve shirt with like pearl like stuff embroidered on it. And he'll take that off as well quickly. He's not like going slow about it, but he's taking it off. And he folds it up and he sets it into the car. And he says, "Mind me, ma'am, this is going to take a bit. And he, if you could give me a hand getting him up." And Vandenberg, in his massiveness, leans down and scoops up Bixby and just hoists him back up and starts maneuvering back toward the other cars.
I kind of look to Webb and follow whatever direction, or if he just starts walking after, I'll...
Webb is following after, and as Webb sees you follow, he says, "Go to the engine, see if you can give Dr. Walters any help. Hopefully more people are coming. And thank you."
Of course. Send someone for me if you need me back.
He gives a nod.
Take care of him, and I'll take off running.
All right. You maneuver along the length from the flat car into the car with all the horses, or do you follow the ollie route and head for the roof?
No, I'll run from car to car, like a lady that I'm pretending to be.
All right, so you don't ollie up on the top, and you rush through the cars. I finally got to use it. Been waiting. And when you get to the front, you find the engineer, you find Dr. Walters. Dr. Walters is right now talking up a storm as you're coming up along the side of the car, and he's just like, "That's, of course, when we ran across these several Irishmen who were most decidedly breaking the law as they were removing things from the building." And you can see that he's just sitting next to the engineer, and the engineer has some sort of like, it might be a piece of metal or something. It just looks like in the darkness, it's kind of glistening looking, and it's across his midsection. The engineer's sitting up next to him. They're sitting next to the door, and the other gentleman who's up here, the shoveler, is standing nearby, and he's making adjustments. Walter seems to be talking a story of some type. The engineer seems to be directing the shoveler, and the shoveler seems to be doing something with the engine itself. Steam and smoke are pouring out at this point in time, and you can see what looks like fire spewing out the sides of the front of the engine, as well as what looks like the rib cages of an animal are sticking out as well, because it's those pipes that have been bursted out. And so it's kind of a strange scene as you walk upon it, some sort of thing that you might assume you would see in purgatory or hell. You come across these as you walk up. Dr. Walters kind of stops his conversation upon seeing you walking out of the...
Do you want me to add any more to this?
No, not yet. Thank you, though.
Okay.
Mwah.
Well, not yet, meaning I'm coming in because we're starting to slow down, so.
Okay. No, this should be fine for me.
Okay.
Checking up on me, making sure I'm eating. Audience knows I haven't yet. And so he kind of stops his story, but the shoveler continues to like pull down on the lever, begin making an adjustment, and stuff like that.
Do y'all need help? Dr. Webb sent me up here to see if I could assist.
The engineer looks to you and says, "Yes, Dr. Walters is no longer needed. Just, I'll be fine. Send someone else."
So the engineer's injured, right? But Dr. Walters just hasn't been working on him?
You're not... From what you can see, it looks like he's got something on his midsection. And Dr. Walters is sitting next to him, just having a day, talking. Maybe he has done something. Maybe he hasn't. You're not really sure what the hell's going on, but it looks odd. And it doesn't look like what you would expect to have seen.
All right. Dr. Walters, Dr. Webb could use your expertise as seeing to Bixby. It's a little unusual here. So he requested your help. I kind of like my eyes flicker to the engineer.
The engineer gives you a nod. Walter gives you a nod. Excellent. Besides, his wounds are bad, but as long as he doesn't move too much, and as soon as I can get my kit, I can... And the engineer's like, "We've got it. Just go." God damn. Won't shut up. And Walter stands up and gives him a pat on the shoulder. He's like, and starts walking off. Walters happily says, as passing you by, "My work here is done." And he heads past you.
I give him a bright smile, but then look to the engineer. Is there anything I can do? Dr. Webb is busy at the moment, so it might be a while before you get some help this way.
You got any whiskey? Or rum, something strong?
I can get you some.
If you don't have it, I've... Over in the box over there. My keys are in my pocket. And he kind of fishes some keys out. If you can get my little stash out, that would be great. Last thing I wanted to show is that man I had a stash up here. He'd get drunk and just not shut up even more.
Understood. And I'll fish for the keys and go grab some of that stash.
All right. You produce a bottle of Kentucky bourbon, and you and him have a seat with some small makeshift metal cups. And he asked, "Are you okay, seeing all the blood on you?"
Oh, I'm fine. This isn't mine. It's Mr. Bixby had a rough go. That's who Dr. Webb is working on.
You see, this actually bothers the engineer. He lowers his eyes for a moment and then raises his tin cup to yours. Hopefully we don't lose the old dog. Yeah, hopefully we don't lose the old dog tonight.
Agreed. I think he's in good hands. I'll drink to it.
Oh, right. Time passes. Ollie, you're able to get to the front car. You meet Dr. Walters halfway by, and he's like, "Oh, my bag, great." And you guys engage. It's like you're going across the flat car. He's coming out of the car with all the animals. He's like, "Ollie, you've got my bag. Great. I can go back up to the engine."
Yep, reckon you can.
Excellent. Miss McDade is up there assisting the engineer. He's not in too much of trouble, but he definitely needs some gauze. The wound is... and some surgery. I wouldn't move him, so there's another bag back with my things. Oh, Miss Lorraine. And he tips his hat. "I didn't see you there hiding behind Ollie." And Lorraine doesn't say anything. But I need another one of my bags with sewing kit and surgical.
Well, here's this bag to start. And let me go. What's the other one look like?
He begins describing it and telling you, and which you remember when the bag fell, it popped open. That smaller bag that he's describing is on the inside. So it all works out. It all works out for a moment. A lot of talking this with Dr. Walters, and y'all, the three of you, head toward the engine and begin assisting the engineer. We won't go into the cringeworthy details of the fact the engineer is bothered by Dr. Walters not shutting up through the entire operation. You guys lay him out, get plenty of light, begin cleaning his wounds, sit back, relax. And while this is all going on, Lorraine is there with you guys, and she gets your attention, and she wants to, she makes a gesture, she reaches out and she tugs on your sleeve, she wants you to step back and talk to her.
To be clear, was that and or Anne?
Anne.
Oh, yeah. What is it?
As she moves you back around the corner near the coal bin, she will tell you, she says, I do not know what is going on, but as everything was happening, I heard a voice cry out, a powerful voice say, I can teach you a trick that will help you defeat him. I have no idea what that means.
I don't either, but,
Did you hear a same voice?
I didn't. Was it when we were together in the car, or?
No, it was before the loud noise.
It might have something to do with maybe your, and I kind of lean forward and whisper like I'm saying a bad word, but cards.
Oh, maybe. I do not know. I am just worried now. This train ride, it is only getting worse.
I agree. It's been a heck of a ride. I'm not sure about the voice, but you let me know if you hear it again. But I was gonna go check out and see, because those dog soldiers, and there's venom in her voice when she says that. They came on board and got off board real fast. So I'm thinking that they found something. You want to go look around with me and see what's missing?
She nods her head yes. Do you say anything to the rest of these individuals who are hanging out at the engine?
We're going to go for a walk and step away from the blood here. See if everyone else is okay, and if maybe figure out what those soldiers were after.
I'll come with you, I say, immediately distancing myself from Dr. Walters, since the engineer can't. So I'll take a walk with the pretty young ladies instead of with the Pinkerton agent that talks to.
I'll as I leave, I'll kind of give a sympathetic smile to the engineer and nudge his whiskey bottle a little closer.
All right. As we move forward, I do apologize to my two players. I forgot to make sure that you guys drew chips at the beginning of the game.
Hey, that's right.
And so if you guys get a moment, go ahead and draw your 3 chips, and I'll take care of mine as well. As the 3 of you begin walking away, one of the first cars you walk into is one of the cargo cars. That's the one right past the coal car, and you guys enter it. Now, as you walk in, and you remember that there is a special piece of cargo inside this car that gives you the willies.
Yep, that's what I was looking for.
All right. That container is open.
I want to go take a peek inside.
All right. A 4.5-foot black stone, it's kind of pearly and shiny, rests amongst the hay. It's a standing crate, so the stone itself is probably about 4.5 feet in length, or height. We'll say height. And the crate itself is just a little higher, and then the width of it is probably about 2 foot, and the stone on the inside is probably about 8 inches in width at most. All sides are very smooth. The edges are smooth as well. As you walk toward it, you have a sensation inside of your guts as something kind of twitches. Ollie, you're walking in behind. Do you walk in first, Ollie, or do you follow up behind the two ladies? What kind
Like, Ollie would probably have tried to be in front, but since you described it to her first, that's fine. So instead, he'll, like, gallantly be holding the door open for them, so he'll be third in line.
Sounds great. By the way, Radio, thank you for those chip donations to help bring down the trail boss. If the trail boss goes down, the players will get some extra chips. Or the marshal will get some extra chips. It's wherever you want to give them to. When you hold the door open, you're stepping in. Have you stepped in this car yet?
I think I was here earlier when we... is this the same car that had the bodies in it, or no?
No, that's the back of the train. This is the front of the
Okay.
train.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure. I think I might have only gone over this one.
I agree. I understand. Okay, so as you hold the door open, the ladies step in. Anne steps in, and she immediately, like, it's probably about a good 8 to 9 feet in. She immediately goes in that direction, like veers off to one side amongst all the cargo, and it's like do, like she knew where she was going, like she was intended to be here. And she stops and she looks in, and she's playing with it. And as she starts to reach in, Lorraine rushes up, grabs a hold of the sleeve, and it's like, "No, don't touch it."
Why?
She pulls back away from you, and she goes, "I feel something." Ollie?
Instead of asking why not to touch it, why not ask yourself why you was about to touch it?
I mean, was just so smooth and I don't know. You ever like see a button you just really want to poke? I saw the case was open and I just wanted to see what it was.
And the case is open, and straw is strewed across the ground. And on the floor, as you guys are looking about and whatnot, Ollie, as you're being observant, because like I said, Anne went right there, there are a pair of moccasin boots on the other side of the car, sticking out from like a little alleyway almost.
Okay, then.
They're on the ground, so whoever owns them is also on the ground.
Yeah, Ollie's gonna head over that away. Transfer his rifle to his left hand. Just give a little like this to the ladies to like stay back, and he'll make his way over towards that pair of moccasins.
All right. Do you want? How do you want to? Because it's like amongst the crates. There's alleyways between the aisles, and so this person is kind of like on another aisle in between, so his feet are sticking out, and he must be laying on the ground. And I say he because of the size of his boots and legs.
And I think it's mostly been dudes that we saw. Are the toes up or are the toes down?
Up.
Okay, so then lying on their back. Yeah, I'll go like over an aisle and try to head up from a little bit unexpected direction.
All right, you swoop to a different aisle. At this point in time, and as the questioning started, then he held up his hand and whatnot. You gaze around for a moment to try to figure out what Ollie's doing, and it becomes very clear that a pair of moccasined feet are nearby on the ground, and Ollie looks like he's trying to circumvent and circumnavigate to the other side of the individual who's taking a nap.
As soon as I see that, kind of my face kind of darkens from that curiosity to like this very serious like contemplation. And my fingers kind of like grab at my skirt, like I'm about to lift it, but as I like look back to Ollie, I like clench. I release the skirt and my hands clench into a fist as I restrain myself.
Okay, and Lorraine, of course, at this point in time is in shock. She's pulling back. She's scared. She doesn't have guns. She wouldn't even know what to do when she was holding it. Poor thing. She would probably run terrified. If that Indian was suddenly right there, it gets up. Ollie, as you come around the corner, the Indian is laying on the ground. His body is a mixed cargo where like he is kind of half up, half down, and like this strange arch between the boxes. You can see that there is no skin on his face. There's nothing left of his eyes. A skull protrudes from a bloodied head. For the most part, it's like the flesh has just been blasted off with like some sort of heat. The hair is still there. His hand nearby is singed, burnt. Bits of it are missing, and it's more like nub-like than it is actually hand-like. But at this moment in time, you realize it is hand-like.
Okay.
Go ahead and make me
my
a guts roll.
My first thought on the missing face, by the way, was like, I don't remember Miss McDade doing exactly that to anybody. But then you got out of the fire and stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, no, this isn't one of her. So, 1 second, let me roll my gut. That is a 5.
And that is a fair, it was a fair target number, so you rolled fair, so you've seen bad stuff. This is one of them.
So he'll relax a little, like he had his hand hovering over his holster for either of the pistols because he wasn't sure if he was going to need the magic one or the quick one. Mm-hmm. So he was like, I bet I'm faster than whoever this is. So that's why he didn't actually have one drawn. But he'll be like, oh, okay. And just kind of relax visibly. And then he'll make a face like, oh, yeah, never mind. And he'll just go try to kind of manhandle the guy by like a belt or something if I could just kind of upend him.
Yes.
Just kind of get him to roll like face down between some crates instead of lying there looking all, face melted off, like face up. Let's get him just kind of face down. And that's enough for now. And then he'll just kind of holler out from behind the crates. Never mind, you two. He's pretty dead. And then Ollie's going to look around to see if he can spot what killed him, like here. Because you said it looked like one hand and his face. And I'm wondering if he was like carrying something over this way. But yeah, Ollie is just going to kind of kick the corpse out of the way a little bit and just look around to see if he can spot something.
Search roll.
Yes, not my strong point.
And?
That is a 5.
All right, Miss McDade, Ollie has moved over. He's put his gun away, right? Started.
Yeah, he still has his the rifle like in his offhand, holding it by like the foregrip type of thing, But yeah, you just kind of hear him thumping around a body a little.
Kind of forgetting the stone for a second. He said it, but like I have to see it it'll bother me if I don't. So I kind of creep over there and look at the body he turned over.
Guts check.
He got burned pretty bad. Oh, too late.
Ollie, did you remember that your guts check is at a -1?
I did not. No.
Yes.
So if that would not have made it, because what'd it say? It was difficulty 5, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right then. Let's. You can spend white chips one at a time.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay. I'm just gonna sling a couple extra d6s. We'll see what happens. Because I don't feel like backtracking and suddenly Ollie has to hoard.
Yeah. We're going to say that you're stealing yourself at this point in time.
Okay.
You're bothered. So you're stealing yourself against the situation, but for the purpose, you're trying to show as strong as you possibly can, but this has unnerved you to the point that moving forward, I'm going to penalize you with a -1 for probably the length of the scene, as you need a moment to go find some liquid courage to regain your...
Yeah, luckily I've got some in my pocket. So that free hand that he was gonna quick draw a pistol with, he will instead do like a nimble little fast draw of this like travel-sized whiskey bottle. Mm-hmm. So like it gives a twirl around his finger real quick, and he, chomps out the cork and takes a swig or two, because he's also had a pretty big day. Like, so he deserves it. He deserves it.
You woke up from a head concussion earlier in the day because yesterday your gun blew up in your hands as Indians were... Man, your days are so far all about stopping Indians from taking this train.
Yeah, which, then again, this is Ollie turning over a pretty good leaf. Mm-hmm. You know, he's been protecting folk and living up to what Sergeant Harris would have wanted done. So, you know, he deserves a little treat. Just this one bottle.
So that perception roll you made is not enough. You're trying to look around, figure things out, but your head's swimming. Your hand's holding the bottle, and your mind's like, get ready to shoot it, get ready to shoot it. You don't feel safe right now, and that's how we're going to move forward at this point in time. And you come around the corner. Did you make your guts check? You did.
I did. I got an 8.
You can see the result of this Indian's death. He definitely lost the front part of his face, as well as you can see his nubbified hand.
I narrow my eyes and think, good.
All right.
Can I look between like him and the stone? Is there a direct path that he like might have come from the stone? Like if he had gotten blown?
Yes. Unless you have like D6s and smarts. You don't have D6s and smarts. What's your smarts?
Let me check.
I mean, D4s is definitely like you ain't got no clue, but I mean, you can still roll. You can still roll. I'm not gonna say no because you can throw chips into it.
I have a 3d6.
Go ahead and make that smarts roll. We'll make it a foolproof. Yeah, that should be fine. Yes.
10.
He definitely got whatever happened. There is a straight line between him and the stone. As you're kind of looking, you notice that there is a crates. They look like they have been hit and deceived, kind of shoved around a bit. They've been moved and twisted. One of them has fallen over the other side, and near the base of the crate, as you're looking, there's a section of that straw that looks like it was burnt or caught on fire. So as you're like looking at it, running your eyes along to look over here, you catch a glance of that burnt section of straw.
I look from him back to the stone with my eyes wide, like, I'm really glad I didn't touch that.
Ollie's gonna kind of squint suspiciously around and be like, maybe we ought to just put the lid back on that thing.
Lorraine agrees.
I'll nod too.
Because it looks to me like maybe burning out from the inside like that might be something that happens if you touch a thing called the Devil Rock. Hey, where's the preacher at anyhow? He might know something about this. But yeah, Ollie will look around for a lid. Like the top of that crate.
Okay, not far, you find it. It's on the floor. So the three of you make efforts to put it back on?
Yeah, I think so.
In the process of getting it back in there, you guys find the head of a tomahawk, a metal tomahawk head that is warped. And it is amongst the straw that's all burnt. But you don't find a handle, nor the rest of his hand. Alright, you're able to get the lid closed, and the disaster, or a disaster of touching it, has been averted.
Hey, you ladies just sit tight for a second. I'm gonna just get rid of this guy. He is woefully unpleasant to look upon. So you ladies glance forward, and I'll drag him back. Because, like, is the train still moving?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna, like, grab this guy by the belt or something and just kind of haul him backwards between the cars and give him a chuck over the side.
All right. He does not smell the greatest in the sense that he is burnt off face, but I mean, that's something to be expected. You toss him out the side door. It's probably locked. No, he came through the side. So you grab a hold of the side door. You're able to slide it open. You realize that they busted it, so you're able to toss him out. And visually, you can tell by the way the trees are flying by, the train is definitely slowed down quite a bit.
It's fine. As long as I was able to get rid of some terribly unpleasant remains.
Mm-hmm.
So yep, Ollie will give him a chuck. He'll give him a little bit of a wave, like, I figure he probably wants to stay close to home anywho. And then he'll heave I imagine it's one of those like sliding doors, and he'll just heave that shut, and then like pat his hands together, like job well done, to himself, as he moseys back to the womenfolk.
All right. Lorraine keeps her distance from the box and steps past it, and she, as you shut the door, she looks to you, looks to Anne, and says, I think this is what they want.
Well, they gave up mighty quick if they saw what it did to one of their...
Did we forget a word, or did it get cut off?
One of their friends?
Okay. Sorry, I think you just let up on the microphone just a second early. And then I was like, but wait, maybe she's also trying to figure out how Miss McDade would refer to one of these guys. It's like maybe it was a purposeful pause. That's why I wasn't jumping right. Yeah,
My
Ollie
pauses
will give
are extra dramatic.
It could have been. It's a dramatic situation. So yeah, Ollie will give a thoughtful nod. Yeah, I figure this maybe begs the question on who on this train is shipping this thing anyhow.
I think we got some solid questions that need answered. But I liked, I think Father Cross might have thoughts on this box, right?
Yeah, maybe he's got some special trick of keeping something closed or sanctified or something like that. I don't know.
Let's find him.
Ollie is going to try and manhandle another crate, like on top of this one. Like, are they packed close enough that I could probably kind of do that without terrible effort, just to kind of, it's covered up. Let's make it a little bit harder for somebody to notice it.
Of course.
And try to get into it.
Of course. Yes, not a problem. You can definitely get it tucked away out of the main view. In fact, just shifting another crate or two in the way makes it more difficult for other people to even find it.
I'm not going to, but I'm really tempted to have, like, Ollie struggle with, like, moving this giant, heavy box, and then Anna comes over and is like, here, I'll help.
And she just reaches out with a pinky and lifts it up. All right, then. Let's mosey on back in the general direction of the caboose and see if we can't find us a holy man.
Agreed.
And you do. Getting back to the business class and the passenger car, they have been turned into small but makeshift hospitals to tend to those who have taken whatever kind of wound that they might have taken during the entire event. The engineer is not back here, but of course neither is Dr. Walters. He must still be up there assisting the engineer and tending to him and stuff. Webb is back here, and he is rather active. He's getting the help from another young lady here who's acting as a nurse, a mom or a mother of one of the other, or a wife to one of the other passengers. And so we have like a little triage going for each individual, checking them out, making sure that they're tended to. Bixby is stretched out in one of the business class areas, and he is asleep. Webb is in there right now, fishing around in his guts to pull out a bullet. You find Father Cross in the back, administering to two of the other passengers who weren't so lucky. As far as it goes, these are other passengers who were in Either one was in the business class and the other one was in the passenger car. The business class individual was a businessman from New York. I haven't really involved him because he's always been sticking out. He doesn't get involved in things, so that was just his personality. But now was in the way and got tomahawked by one of the invaders. In the passenger car, it was the postman, not the Pony Express rider, but one of the local postmen for Dodge City coming home. He had stand ground several times against invasion, but it wasn't so lucky this time as he got sniped in the face by one of the riders on horses. So it was quick for him, but not for the businessman from New York, which is sad. Father Cross is doing last rites on them, and as he's working toward moving them toward the back of the train. When you express to him, so we're at that point. He's working with people. He's saying prayers over bodies. We've got to the point where it stopped. You guys are helping out in other different ways, I'm assuming. Whatever you help somebody move, go check on Miss Thompson, stuff like that. Father Cross gets a moment to be free, as you've let him. We need to talk to you. So he gets a moment to be privately with you, and we'll say in Anne's car, in her room, in Anne's room.
Sure.
So,
I'll lead you. I'll lead the way.
Okay, so are you including Lorraine in this conversation?
If she'd like, I'm not excluding her.
She has really, I don't see that she has a desire to be engaged. She doesn't. She wants to stay near people at this point in time. So
all right, she can stay in the passenger car and keep helping out, I guess.
Okay.
If that works for her. So, all right.
The three of you enter the room, shut the door, and how do you describe to Father Cross what you found and what's going on?
Hey, Padre. I think we found that devil rock that these boys seem to be after. And I also think it did a number on one of them what touched it. So I'm wondering if there's maybe something you can do to purify it, sanctify it, lock it down tight, something like that.
He gives a nod and says there are some rituals. There is at least one ritual I know of that I can do that can help reduce any kind of demonic influence.
Well, it didn't look particularly angelic, so maybe it is the other thing.
All right. He looks... do you have anything to add, Anne?
No, I kind of purposefully keep quiet because I don't want the anger to color my words about the Indians. So
that's fair. So the father says he and Ollie can go tend to this if you, because he points out that you still look like you're still weighing quite a bit of Bixby.
I look down and go, all right, I'll just change a moment.
All right. So you two step out, and as you're making efforts to get changed, we'll say you got changed. You're putting the clothes away. There's a quick tap at the door, and it opens. And it's Lorraine. She comes in, goes, I just heard something. I heard something terrible. It was like a scream. This has been a few minutes after they've left.
Like a woman scream?
No, an angry man's voice screaming. Did you not hear that? It was really loud.
All right, Lorraine. No, I didn't. I'm glad you told me.
She's like looking around. I was so scared. Nobody moved. Only I seemed to move and hear it. And you didn't hear it either. And she's like, I'm going crazy.
Do you think maybe it could have something to do with that vibe?
She just stares at you. I do not know. Only my master would be able to tell me.
I bet you that box is no good. I think I felt something while we were in that room that kind of deep down disgusted me. And I think that, as Ollie said, it was a devil's stone or something like that. there's probably evil in that box.
She gives a sigh. I am going to have so much problems sleeping tonight.
I think we all are. I know that it's hard to maybe tag along and see some of what we're seeing, but I think you should stay close to me. And if you hear something, I mean, it didn't seem to happen while I was with you.
She's like, I don't want you to leave my side. If you have to go anywhere, I want to be right there. I am so scared.
All right. I put my arm around her reassuringly and say, I won't leave you alone. I promise.
She says, the only other person I feel safe with is Ali. He is a nice man, but he makes me feel safe, and I don't know why.
I kind of smile a little bit and go, he seems like a very good man.
So, we're going to segue at this point in time. Ollie, you and Father Cross are up the front. You've got to the box, you pointed out. You guys had a quick conversation as you explained a few things. He pulls out his holy Bible, pulls out some incense and some oil, and begins making some gestures. As soon as, the first few drops of this oil hit the box, you hear a bellowing scream. It's, really loud, and you'll take a D6 in wind and damage. Okay. Something yells, "No!" Two.
Looks like 2.
So it definitely, for a moment, whatever Father Cross did, when it hit that box, it pushed you back and you felt it.
Without realizing it, Ollie's gonna draw the Ranger's gun.
Okay.
Without even meaning to, just that sort of supernatural threat. He just busts out the super quick draw, instinctively. And there's probably a little ripple because he's about to do a hex type of thing, just the instincts kicking in. But he forces himself to kind of give it a little twirl and put it away instead. And then just kind of squints worriedly at the preacher and the box. Because I'm hoping that we're not going to make Father Cross's head explode by having him tamper with this. So, yeah, I keep kind of a worried eye out.
Father Cross stops as he realizes what's happened, and he looks over his shoulder, when you draw your gun, because he can hear it, and he goes, "Son, is everything okay?"
Not real great. I reckon that means you didn't hear nothing just now.
He sprinkles another thing of oil onto it. The hissing sound can definitely be heard as a snake hissing. And he's like, "No, I did not." He closes his Bible and he turns to look at you and he goes, "Huh, you got a bit of," and he makes a gesture to your nose.
Huh?
Blood.
Oh. Huh. Maybe y'all just finish up here, Padre.
I'm almost done.
And I'll give him a nod towards the box, let's go ahead and do whatever needs done.
He throws some salt onto the ground and makes some more gestures, and a dim voice says, "Your God cannot keep me in here. I will get out. You will need me."
Ollie spits on the box. just like standard cowpoke type of thing. And then gives it a very polite tip of his hat. He goes, "Good job, Padre. Reckon that takes care of that."
All right. So, you and Father Cross begin taking a slow walk back as he asks you what you heard.
Yeah, and Ollie will tell him, he'll say, "Well, I reckon it's been a good half hour or so now, but when we was wrapping up this fight up towards the engine, had a little bit of a tickle in the back of my mind offering me some extra power if I needed it. I said no thank you, and just kept on shooting. But sounds like it's just about that same voice now. When you started sealing that puppy up, and then promising it was going to escape right when you was finishing. I know a little bit about a little bit. I learned some from the ranger what gave me his gun and such. But, Father, I'm beginning to suspect maybe the Devil Rock is up to no good.
He gives a nod and says, I would believe so too. I'm not sure about why the natives are trying to get it, or find it, or why they know about it. But I keep thinking back to that poor man back from the other train car who got up, came up this way, and gave us all hell that last night.
I wonder, Padre, do you think it'd be too big a sin to just haul that crate out the side door, give it a good kick? Like, maybe the best thing we might do is go ahead and let them dog soldiers deal with this problem.
He gives a nod. It's not my property, but the good Lord would tell me that if that is an artifact or a work of the devil, it probably needs to be destroyed. I don't know if these Indians have that intent.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried you'd answer with something like that. I figured it couldn't hurt to ask, though.
He gives a nod. I'm going to think on it. I'll think on it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're worried about it counting as theft or something, I'll take care of it for you. Doesn't need to be on your conscience, Padre.
I think this is definitely something the church needs to know about, though. We have the people who can take care of it.
All right. If it's safer with us and getting taken care of, and you're the expert.
We might want to move it to the back of the train or something, get it farther away from people. I don't know about that just yet.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if we hauled it back to the caboose, it'd be easier to get rid of if we do have to get rid of it. Can't they just detach a car or something?
He gives a nod. I heard that they can.
Might be something to keep in mind, I suppose. I don't suppose maybe anybody riding with us has expressed any concern about this pox. Wanted to come looking for it or nothing?
We need to talk to Bigsby and the engineer about that, then.
I'm kind of wondering whose it is and how they got a hold of it and what they want to do with it next.
He gives a nod. I'm about to head to the front of the train to go help out with the engineer. Bigsby's in the back getting worked on, getting a bullet pulled out by Webb. Mayhaps you go over there and see what you can figure out if he comes to. And I'm going to go see if I can't help Walters patch together the engineer so we can make sure we get to Dodge tomorrow. Sun comes up in about 6 hours, and I want to make sure we're still moving forward.
Yeah, maybe you could distract Dr. Walters and give the engineer a brief respite as well. So, yeah, good luck up front, Padre. I'm going to head out back.
All right. The two of you part ways, and you head back to the back toward the passenger cars themselves. Passenger, business class, first class. Do you want to swing by and say anything to Anne or Lorraine? Or you...
Last I heard of Miss McDade, she was getting changed, so I don't want to wander too close to her room just now. Like, I know I'm walking past her room because we're on a damn train. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like, he's not gonna force the issue. He's got an errand to run. Mm-hmm. So he'll go check on Bixby first before doubling back. And maybe the ladies went back to that car anyway because we saw some other ladies that were playing nurse. So, yeah, he's not going to bug them. He'll just head on back.
Okay. You get back to the car where Bixby is supposed to be at. Lorraine was back here assisting with nursing, as far as you knew, but she's not here anymore. You walk into the medical area with... Webb and Bixby and wait for some opportunity to talk to him.
If Bixby is still passed out,
mm-hmm.
I'll just mosey on past, and I'm going to check a little further back in the train because I haven't really been past this car. So Ollie will just kind of keep on doing Bixby's job to an extent because he knows Bixby's out of it, and Ollie's pretty sure he's the best shot around, whether Bixby's awake or not. So yeah, Ollie will mosey on back to the back cars. I'm not looking for any like super in-depth role play if you're not, but he'll just kind of go through the motions of making sure folks are okay, see if anybody needs help getting towards the hospital car, that sort of thing. Instead of sitting around and waiting, Ollie's not a big waiter. Ollie's a doer.
And Anne and Lorraine. I'm not going to just say Anne, Miss McDade. I'm going to always be including Lorraine because she, after that, is like, no, I don't want to be alone. There are voices, and I want to make sure they're not only in my head.
Yup. So, once we're changed, we had said we were going to meet up with the others, so I'll head back to the car with the scary stone with Lorraine.
All right. So the two of you sneak out. I'm not sneaking. You're heading. Nobody's going to stop you at this point in time, right? Wrong. As the two of you head out and start walking toward the front of the train, Vandenberg sees the two of you step out, and he comes walking over to you. Now, of course, he's still wearing his shirt that's got blood on it and whatnot, and he's got his jacket with him. He walked back up and got it. Come back this way. And he says, "You, Louisiana girl." And Lorraine immediately jumps to the other side of you from him.
Yeah, I kind of step in front of her too and put my hand out to keep her behind me.
What do you know about all this stuff? Why are these Indians attacking this train? What's going on? What did you do? Lorraine leans, she's behind you and she says, I did nothing. This is not I don't know what you mean by this. And Vandenberg looks the two of you up. Where are y'all about off to?
Well, sir, I thought last I checked that we had paid for a ticket just like you and just like everyone else. So I don't think our business on this train is any concern of yours. And if you're going to go around making accusations, then we're going to be excusing ourselves from this conversation. And I'm using that little bit of that voice to calm the encounter against him.
Sure. All right, I got to remember how the voice works, so you got to kind of remind me.
I've got two of them, so I'm checking for that right now since it's been a little while. +2 persuasion to calm encounters.
Okay, so you're going to make a persuasion roll? I apologize. You make a persuasion roll, and then he's going to make... I gotta look it up real quick. The counter to persuasion. It's a test of wills. And
I put the +2 after the exclamation points, right? Or do I put it after the K1?
after the exclamation point.
I think it's after the K1. Maybe it works either way.
Yes, it's after. Yes, do it after the K1. I'm wrong on that one. I was distracted by trying to find the counter stat to persuasion. Ollie's right. I mean, Rusty's right.
Did you find it, Max, or you want some help looking?
I got it. I just gotta remember how to write. Okay. He doesn't say anything else. He just tips his shot glass and shoots it back, turns back to go over to the bar where the accountant is at. The accountant, as he's walking up, gives maybe some reassurance to the situation as he shakes his head at the big guy like, why did you go do that? Like, what's up with you, you know? And he just Vandenberg shakes a fat finger at him like he knows something.
I kind of give him a nod as he walks past and keep it to myself, but I'm thinking, damn right you walk by.
Okay. The two of you head to the car, several cars up to where the box is at. Entering into the car, and as you begin moving toward its location, you don't feel it. As you get around the small turn to where it's sitting and you get eyes on it, you still don't feel it. You get up next to it. Nothing inside you wiggles.
And there's no Father Cross or Ollie.
No, you guys, like two ships in the night, went different directions.
Do you mind if I make a smarts roll to determine whether or not I think they've been here, or if, like...
You don't have to. There is a piece of paper that has been tacked onto the box that says, do not touch under order of the church.
Cool. Then I'll go ahead and look at Lorraine and be like, looks like the good father already took care of it. So I think our next course of action is figuring out why in God's name, excuse me, why in God's name this terrible item made its way onto our train in the first place. Let's figure out whose package this is.
All right. This is a search roll. The NPC doesn't have the stats necessary for this, so... i.e. I didn't write them down. She can't make this roll. It's all you. Toss out some chips.
I might have to, because my smarts aren't real high. I'm a woman in these times, so I'm not very educated.
Well, search is based on cognition, not smarts. I don't know if that's any higher.
Nope. I have 1d6.
Well, it's fair to find information. Which is a 5.
And if I use chip after my roll, I can add to it, or is it a re-roll?
You can add an extra dice with the white chip, or you can add to the dice with the red chip. But if you use a red chip, I get a blue. I get to draw.
I know, I hate that.
I love it.
All right, that's a 3. So, let's go ahead and, Now, if I play 2 white chips, I don't know why I'm Anna right now. If I play 2 white chips, can I roll 2d6?
Yes, you can. You can roll 2 more d6.
I think you can declare them one at a time, though. So you don't necessarily have to waste one.
Gotcha.
I think in Roll20, just BTW, I think if you just press up, like the up arrow, I think it'll quote like the last thing you said. So if you just want to roll one die again and again, yeah, it can help.
Yeah, you know, I wrote this character to be strong, but she's aware enough of her weaknesses, so she's gonna just look for someone that may be able to find the answers for her instead of re-rolling.
Well, the good news is Dr. Walters is finished up front. The engineer just got brought back by Vandenberg and an assistant, and so Dr. Walters has left the shoveler in charge of running the train. As Dr. Walters is heading back through. I will totally allow this to happen.
Dr. Walters, question for you as you're walking on by. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but any idea where to find the owners of these packages?
Well, there's probably a manifest somewhere on this car. Let's take a look around. Oh, there it is. And he points to a nearby, like, little tablet of some type as he pulls off And he begins flipping through a book. Let's see. There's some numbers. Oh, there we go. And he flips through it. And while all of this is going on, Walters is going through this book, looking all fancy. Lorraine leans to one side, and then she touches you, and then points to the side of the box.
I look.
It says Property of Hellstrom Incorporate.
Do you know who or what Hellstrom Incorporated is?
Walter stops with his search. Well, Hellstrom is one of the most notorious men out west. He runs a business in Salt Lake where he pretty much designs and develops machines like the horseless carriage and builds them for the Mormons out there and a variety of other things. And he's not a very nice man. In fact, if I met him right now, I would give him a stern talking to, maybe even arrest him. But that's not really the important part, because Hellstrom's got a long history of making terrible choices when it comes to being on the side of either the southern side of the war, the northern side of the war. The Union's mistake was when back in 1862.
I'm sorry. Something you just said a moment ago. Do you know if there's a representative from Hellstrom on this train now?
Let me check this book. And he starts flipping through it again and stops talking. After a moment, he gets finished and he says, no, it doesn't say anything about a representative being on the train. But if I was to gander, whoever runs security on this train would know who's responsible for this box, who's supposed to pick it up, and who dropped it off. And
that would be Mr. Bixby, correct?
He gives a nod.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your help. Lorraine and I got to get going and fill Ollie and Father Cross in on this information. Thank you so much. And I kind of start pulling her off the car.
I'll walk with you. I'm headed that way anyways.
Great.
But it was 62 when Hellstrom, blah, 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 and you guys begin walking. We're going to segue away from that to the front of the train. The shoveler, go ahead.
I'm sorry, but I'm really proud of myself for how I handled him during there. It's much more diplomatic than I have ever handled someone in real life that talks like that.
I definitely appreciate it too. I love the cut in right there, because I was like, just gotta keep going until something happens.
Well, I was at first I waited because I was like, there might be like some other tidbit of good information, and then I was like, no, we're not going that way. Let's go back.
So we kind of move from this point, and we're at the front of the train. The shoveler, a slightly broken gentleman, stands there at the helm running this train. He kind of ducks down out of the smoke and the steam, and he leans forward and he looks beyond it. He can see the gauges are all over the place, and he's throwing a bit of coal in every once in a while. He rushes up and he looks, and he's looking at stuff, and he's tapping things, and he knows, and he's watching it happen as you guys are rolling through the night. And he can hear the sounds of the wheels, the big steel wheels on steel underneath him. And he's looking down, he's looking forward, making sure there's nothing out there. The light's still running. Everything's going fine. As far as he's concerned, it's still a dire situation, and he needs the engineer because he doesn't know what to do. But the engineer's been pulled back for surgery. He's been patched up for the most part, but he can't be fully given an ability to get up and moving around at this point. And so as he's looking ahead, the tree line, so the areas you guys have been going through has been trees and then plains, and trees and plains, and trees and hills, and then some plains. But now you're getting out of the Oklahoma hills and whatnot, and flatlands, and just going straight into the Oklahoma-Kansas flatlands. And so as you guys have been following, for the most part, the river, the train comes around a bend, and as it does so, it's now coming out the back end of the hills. So to the poor shoveler's point of view, he doesn't know this. He doesn't know what he's looking at. The engineer would. And the engineer's not up there. And so you guys have been steadily going up and up and up and up and up and up. into the hills. And so now you're coming out the back end of the hills, which is all downhill. And so as he comes out the back end, the train begins making a turn around, and he sees all these flat lands stretched out before him. Part of him is like, ah. But as the train starts going down the backside of the hills, and the cars begin picking up and going over it, as making a nice little coast up and going down the backside, he stops for a moment, looks around, and then he notices the gauge that registers how fast the wheels are going around and around starts to pick up, and it's not going back down like it normally does, and it's going up, and he's looking at his shovel trying to figure out, wait, I didn't put any coal in there. What's going on? And so we're going to move back to the back end of the train where you guys are at. All right. You were talking about train crashing earlier.
Just a sneaking suspicion I had, since the name of this episode is The Stranded.
Foreshadowing.
I didn't think you just meant we were gonna have trouble finding a carriage in Dodge. Like we were gonna, no luck with the Uber. Like I figured we were probably gonna get stranded somewhere else.
All right. So at this point in time, I'm going to call for a short, maybe at most 10-minute break. I'm going to shovel down some food and do what we got to do, and we will be back. So where's that button that takes us to break? I believe it's this one. And was that the right button? Gosh, I don't know. Let me check. Yeah, we're back. We're back. Hey. Welcome back. I'm Max, the marshal for this Deadlands game, on original box set, and with me, real quick, the introductions are Mr. Peanut Butter and Jelly Eating Sandwich, Rusty.
Hi, everybody.
And he is playing Ollie the Hexslinger, and Anne McDade is played by Sarah Kruss.
Hello.
Sarah, if you could bring your camera just a little. Yeah, we all moved. We were showing off doggies just a minute ago and messed with our cameras. So, all good. I'll slide you over, Sarah. It's all good. There you go. Perfect. All right, maybe back a little bit the other way.
Dang it.
Perfect.
It's all because doggos are too cute.
We couldn't resist the doggos.
Need a second camera just to show off my dog sometimes.
There's Twitch streamers and stuff that do that. They'll have like a puppy cam or a kitten cam or whatever, and just have another little window on screen of watching their pet nap or whatever. I don't blame them. It works.
I don't either. All right.
That's some smart marketing.
Well, there is that plays during the Super Bowl, Puppy Bowl, and Kitten Bowl, as well as during the World Cup. The same. I watch that. Just saying.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so where were we at? The group had all got back together. You guys were tending to... Oh, sorry. Now I remember. Dr. Walters, Lorraine, and Miss McDade were all walking back to the car, listening to his story about how Hellstrom is a terrible person. There's a puppy. So shaggy. Aw, kisses.
He needs a haircut.
And when you guys get back to the other car, how what is the modus operandi of separation between you guys and Dr. Walters?
If we walk past a restroom, I'll go, Lorraine, will you accompany me? Because, we always have to go in groups.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll slide into the, we'll catch up with you further down the train.
Perfectly fine. In fact, as you walk into the first class car, there is a restroom right there, and it's one of the largest restrooms. So you guys leave him there, and he excuses himself as he has other things he needs to do. So, you guys step out of the... Where do you want to go from here?
We wanted to catch up with Ollie and Father Cross, and maybe if they happen to be near Bixby and Bixby's in a state to talk, but okay. I kind of doubt it. So probably Ollie and Father Cross.
You will catch up with Ollie later, but you do catch up first with Father Cross, Webb, and Bixby, as Father Cross has made his way to Bixby. No, Father Cross went to the front of the train to deal with the engineer, and then came back with Vandenbergen, and then so everybody's back at this point in time in the back engine area, or the business class car. The engineer is laid out. He's awake during the whole procedure, as Webb at this point in time is stitching him up. Checking in on Bixby, he is at this point kind of groggy, and so Webb has said you can feed him a little, not a lot, and if you feed him anything, make sure it's like a broth or something, because he needs that now, is a broth. And so I'm assuming that you guys are...
Yeah, I'll kind of double back then with Lorraine to the kitchen car and grab some broth for him and bring it.
Okay. And Whiskey is back there at this point in time, and he is actually making that. He has some bone in a pot, and he's boiling it. And so when you say that, he fishes some out into a cup, and it's like, here you go. Doc told me to head back. Good, go for it. So you guys kind of get into the flow. When you're there, Whiskey has a chance to tell you that Ollie walked by to the back of the train not too long ago. Said he's got to pick up Bixby's job while he's not up and about.
Makes sense. I'm sure he'll be back up this way soon. And I'll head to Bixby. I'm gonna, like, of course his health and comfort is a priority, but if I think he might be up to it, I'll ask him a couple questions about the manifest.
All right. Getting him, sitting him up, getting him to sip on some broth, kind of revitalize him. And he said, "Can you get me some coffee?"
Of course we can.
All right.
And I get back up with Lorraine and go to the kitchen car.
So you tend to his needs: coffee, broth, and as he's sitting there, he's awake. He's got this bandage here, and you don't know anything about surgery, so Webb must have done enough for him and put him back together. Maybe he'll be okay. You haven't had a chance to talk to Webb about his condition. But for the most part, he seems up and cognitive. Not like he's going to get up anytime soon.
Mr. Bixby, don't worry about a thing. You just relax and focus on healing. I know Ollie's been kind of picking up some patrols of the cars for you, so you have nothing to worry about.
He's a good man.
I kind of side-eye Lorraine and go, yes, he is.
You see she wrenches her hands at the name of Ollie.
Don't you be worried about him. If anyone can handle themselves on this train, it's Ollie.
Bixby gives reaches out and touches your hand, and he says, "Are you okay?"
Oh, I'm right as rain. I was just worried about you.
Oh, I appreciate that. I really do.
I have a question for you, though. We found a box that the and I'll kind of lower my voice so anyone around I don't freak them out. That we think the dog soldiers might have been after. Do you know who is looking after the Hellstrom package in the cargo car?
Well, I'm responsible for all the cargo on the train as well as the people. I mean, if that's what you mean.
I mean, who dropped the package off and who's picking it up if there's not someone specifically on the train carrying that package?
Well, I'm part of the train security company, and I'm trying to remember the man's name. Low DM. He was a Austrian sounding man. Lodium. He I remember loading it up. Lodiem. It should be in the manifest. He looks to you. Why are you worried about this box?
We believe that's what the soldiers were after, so we wanted to make sure, that, and I kind of look at Lorraine like, play along because I don't want to worry him while he's trying to heal, but we wanted to make sure there wasn't a target on this train, or that we could communicate with whoever the package belonged to. But thank you for the information. We'll take a look and see what we can find. Was Lodium supposed to be picking it up once we got to Dodge?
He shakes his head no. Back on the caboose, there's the paperwork for what things to be picked up by who. Look for his name, and there should be another name to go along with it. I don't know it off the top of my head.
And that's the person picking it up, the name that's paired with his?
Yeah, it'll be in a manifest in the caboose.
I'll take a look. Do you need anything before I go?
If somebody's after it, we need to get that thing away from people. I mean, if they're going to be trying to come back for it. This is twice now. Ollie needs to know.
I'll make sure I find him. He's going toward the back of the train to patrol anyway, and if I'm going to the caboose, we gotta cross paths, right?
He gives a nod. He gives us a nod and a sign. He looks to you, and there's a definite smile on his face. You can definitely see that he is having, and is maybe his weakness, still having, and he gazes long into your eyes. And you can see that gaze. You've seen it before. You're a good woman.
Watching Rusty swoon over there is my favorite.
I was carried away by the romance of the moment.
I'll smile back and give his hand a squeeze and get up and go, Lorraine, you ready to go look for Ollie? Knowing what the answer is going to be.
She immediately jumps up, not like energetically. She stands up. Yes, of course. Yeah.
All right, you focus on getting better, Mr. Bixby. Thank you, Dr. Webb, for all the work you've done. And we'll head out.
All right. So, you guys are heading to the back of the train. I'm going to deal with Ollie real quick. Ollie, moving down through the different train cars. Get past passenger, go through the kitchen, and cargo. You get to the car where the Father Cross had put a sign up, no one's allowed to go in. Remember this? Yeah. All right, so you get up, the door's locked.
Yeah, that was the one with the bodies in it, wasn't it? Ollie's going to just go up and over the ladder.
Okay.
For that bit.
Okay.
Especially because the door is still shut, and that's a good sign. So let's keep it that way. In case they are walking around in there, cool, they haven't figured out, door technology. Let's not do them any favors. So yeah, he will suppress a shutter and climb up the ladder and make his way back along the roof.
The secret to defeating the zombie apocalypse: doorknobs.
All right. You get up over. As you're climbing up the train and you start walking across the roof, the train car is kind of wobbly, a little bit more than you would have, kind of put two thoughts into it. And this is the first time and as you look around, you realize the countryside is wide and flat. It's been a while since you've been on these side of the hills, and there's less trees, and it's pretty majestic up here on top of this train car going down the backside of these hills. So you take note.
Yeah. Ollie's gonna grumble to himself as he's making his way back. It's I don't know how some of them boys pull off train jobs. This whole damn thing just seems like way more trouble than it's worth. I'm gonna just stick to cattle, man. You know what a steer's gonna do. Just kind of grumbling as he's getting his face full of dirt and almost losing his hat, and just all that crap up on top, just grumbling on his way back. And man, feels like this thing's going a little faster, but hell, maybe we'll just get to Dodge sooner. Try.
All right, you climb up and over, and after that, there's another 2 cargo cars, and then finally the caboose. So as you get down into the next one, the door into the next cargo is open. You walk.
Ollie will saunter on in.
You walk in. The side door as well is open.
So the sliding cargo door.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. He'll go ahead and haul that shut if he doesn't see anybody else in this room.
Cognition roll or search if you have it.
I do. 1 second.
I'm going to make it a foolproof.
That is a 2.
All right. Unfortunately, because your nerves, you did not stop to pick. Well, you did have some. So have you been drinking as you've been going?
Yeah, he downed that little bottle of whiskey that he found earlier.
Okay, then you're not under penalties, but you definitely are warm.
Okay.
So that's a 3. That's what you needed. The car has been not ransacked, but definitely the supplies have been moved around a whole bunch. And you know that the Indians broke into these last cars. And so stuff was tossed off and whatnot. And you begin looking around for any signs of anyone left behind, but you're not finding any. As
That's
you
fine.
step past and into the next car, the doors open as well. And so
Yeah, same thing. He'll just kind of poke around a little bit and see if anybody jumps out to kill him. And like, if they don't immediately, then he'll go tug the side door shut again.
okay. You step past, and as you go to tug the side door shut, it looks like as if someone dropped their that looks like I forgot what it's called. They dropped their gun, the pistol. One of the natives who must have been using it's a Navy Colt. I was just going to use like a fancy like slang term. Side iron. That's what I was going to say. Well, somebody had dropped their side iron near the open door.
Yeah, Ollie'll take that. It's a free gun, and he is running low on things that he owns legally that he can claim. So yeah, he'll pick it up, check and see if it's loaded, give it a couple twirls, tuck it in his belt.
It is loaded. 4 shots are in that Navy Colt.
All right, he'll go ahead and make it 5, just to round it out to the normal amount. He does have 6 because he's done gunsmithing on him. But yeah, he'll plop an extra round in there and then just kind of tuck it in the small of his back for now.
Okay.
And then haul that door shut.
All right. Stepping past and into the caboose, you get to the final train car. Doors are open, and it looks like this one was ransacked as well. The back door is open. When you were last here, you guys shut the back door, but now it's open again. Somebody came through this car and definitely threw stuff around. There's stuff on the floor. Papers have been strayed about. Crates have been taken. Because there's some supplies here as well as small potbelly stove and stuff like that for the guys who normally hang out back here. So, yeah, it's a bit of a mess. And the back door's open. And some papers are blowing out every once in a while.
Ah, heck. Yeah. I guess we didn't have enough guns pointed this way. Oh, well. And he'll go just check on the back door, shut it, grab a couple of the papers, and just kind of kick them into a corner together. He's like, papers aren't anything important. So he'll just kind of kick some of the papers off into a corner out of the way. But nobody back here that's hurt or bleeding.
Nope.
The caboose isn't full of dog soldiers waiting to pounce.
Nope.
So yeah, he's just like, all right, job done.
All right, fair enough. You've explored the cars. Is there anything in particular that you wanted to do? You've checked them, make sure they're safe.
That was about it. He just figured he'd go for a little bit of a walk and, check the back end a little bit, make sure everything looked okay. So he will mosey on back.
All right. Anne and Lorraine, you guys begin heading back through the cars, heading to try to find Ollie. At some point, car to car, as you move forward, looking around, seeing where to go, you get to one. The door across from you is locked. You try it. You jiggle the handle. Locked. Neither of you have a key. Well, neither of you have a key that will open the lock like it's supposed to be opened. That's the wording I should use.
Does Anna know what this car is? I think I've been to the dead car before.
You have been through the dead car, but Lorraine does not know. So that, if that answers your question. So yes, you have been. Yes, you have been here.
Okay. I'm betting Ollie went over. Maybe we wait for him here and he can help us to the other side.
Lorraine will give a nod. So Ollie, as you are coming back over the top of that car. You look down, and for whatever reason, McDade and Platt, that's her last name, Miss Platt, are at the between car 12 and 13.
Sorry, 1 second. I had to update Ollie's diary. I didn't have Lorraine's last name yet. So, all right, I've got that on my NPC list now. Yeah, Ollie will just kind of give a little bit of a smirk and kind of drop down into a crouch up there on the top. It's not like we're coming up on a cave anytime soon. So he'll just kind of crouch down and go, ladies, out for a bit of a walk?
Actually, we were looking for you. We found out that the package that we came across earlier is from Hellstrom Industries, and that the man who dropped it off, we got his name, but we need to figure out who's picking it up, because that might give us some hint as to why those engines must be after it. So, but the manifest that'll tell us that is in the caboose. So we were hoping we'd run into you and you'd help us on over, because I assume this is locked for a good reason.
Yeah, this is the one that Padre locked up pretty tight last night. Figure it's best to leave it that way. We don't need to go looking for any extra trouble. But yeah, sure, I'll be happy to give you ladies a hand. And he'll like lay down prone and like reach an arm down, so they only have to go up like a few rungs of the ladder, and then he can haul them up. And
of course, it takes a little while. Oh, go ahead.
I'm gonna let Lorraine go first, and I'm gonna once again reach into my skirts, which have pockets, which every lady loves, and pull out some gloves and put those on before I make skin contact with Ollie.
When you guys get over, it takes only a few moments to get back to the caboose and see the mess and begin digging around. You will find that the book in question that Bixby was talking about, and I don't, there's no dice rolls, let's just read through the book and find the name and find out who's picking it up. And it says the Hellstrom Industries representative's name is Perez. So I got to mark down that you guys have got to this point.
I haven't heard a whole lot about Hellstrom Industries, but what I've heard is pretty bad. Like, best not to cross them. But yeah, I feel like their package has been in an awful lot of trouble.
Yeah, wondering what people know maybe on board the train about them that we can find out, because I mean, I've half a mind to just get rid of the package, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah, I do. I asked the Padre his thoughts on that. Figure since we got us a genuine moral authority that we're already trucking with a bit, it wouldn't hurt to give him a good-natured question. He said it might count as a sin if we were just chuck that thing overboard, mostly on account of he feels like the church can probably take care of it better than the locals can. I figure if them dog soldiers want it real bad, maybe it's best not to give it to them. But a part of me says maybe if they're looking for that much trouble, maybe we could just get rid of it. But Padre said he'd think on it some, so for now he just got it locked up tight.
That's fair enough. I do have to say that part of why I've been heading out west is I feel like God's been guiding me exactly where I need to be and where I'm needed most. So maybe it's not a coincidence I'm here with this item, and maybe that's a sign that it's up to us to take care of it. So I mean, I'm willing to wait, but I think that puts everyone here on this train at a right risk.
Ollie will give a philosophical shrug. I gave up trying to figure out the Almighty's plans not too terribly long ago myself. I just figure I'm here for the ride, and we'll see how things end up.
Well, let's head on back and maybe fill in the Padre and anything else you recommend we do?
I figure we might as well take all this mess of manifest stuff with us. Give it to Bixby so he can keep an eye on it, see if any more of it got torn up and tossed out or nothing. But yeah, might as well take it up there. I'll tuck it in my vest or whatever.
Sure.
So take the stack of papers, kind of fold them in half, wedge them into his vest so it's out of the way.
Of course. Of course.
If you're checking on all the cars like Bixby usually does, maybe you might want to check in with that engineer that's been hurt and see if there's anything he needs help with too.
Yeah, I figured I'd probably mosey on towards the front in a little bit. It just occurred to me that nobody'd really been back here past the hospital car, so I figured it wouldn't hurt to make sure we didn't have half a damn tribe lurking in the caboose.
Fair enough.
All right.
Anyway, yeah, let's head on frontwards.
You guys make it back, climbing over cars and whatnot, going through the different cars. You pass by Whiskey, who is now making effort to conjure up some pancakes in the tiny kitchenette. Getting into
doing God's work.
Doing God's work, making pancakes. That's right. I'm not really sure why the guy named Whiskey is suddenly the most generous, nice individual around, but whatever. I haven't portrayed him any other way. When you guys get back to the car, you get a chance to hang out with Webb, who has been super active with trying to patch up as many people as possible. Walters has been helping too, and he has definitely been regaling people about his heroics of being there the first night to fight off what best to be described and is going to go down in history and dime novels as some sort of bat monster. And how he was there to assist getting rid of the shaman at the engine. You know, he's definitely spinning some tall tales for people to listen to. So the folk are not happy, but they're not sad either, as they all are quietly riding along, listening to Walter not stop talking. Webb comes to everybody and says, I'm doing the best I can, but here are some suggestions for those who still have wounds and what to do. And he doles out some information. Like a good doctor, he takes control of the situation and begins kind of giving advice and whatnot. Pointed to each of you, like, can you do this? Can you do that? And the knight does. Am I?
Yeah, just a little bit. Every now and then
Maybe I shouldn't sit so close to my microphone. Let me try not to eat my microphone and see if that helps out any. So, like I was saying, Webb was making effort to teach people what to do and how to take care of situations, and so you guys are being able to help out. But at some point, Webb begins telling people, it's late, you need some sleep. It's late, you need some sleep. To an amazing moment, Frank is given a clear bill of health. As Webb explains, the bullet went right through. He's a very lucky man, and he can go back to assisting, which apparently you are now put in charge of guarding the train.
Yeah, Ollie still just gives a little chuckle anytime people look to him as like a leader instead of just a shooter. He'll kind of, what? Oh, yeah. Like he's absolutely unaccustomed to such things.
He, Webb, of course, seems to be taking a bit of a lead on the designation of stuff. Frank, of course, Malone, the Pony Express rider, states that he's been shot before and this one went clean through. He's good to go. And to an interesting turn of events, so does Vandenberg offer his assistance on checking and making sure the train is safe. He's willing to put in maybe a couple of walks up and down if that would help. If not, he can happily sit around a car and carry a shotgun.
I reckon it might help out. Why don't you and Frank stick together on account of he's hurt and on account of you only got that cute little derringer and such. So yeah, you two stick together. Out of character, I don't want him like alone wandering the car with a gun and accidentally shooting Lorraine. So yeah, we'll try to pair them up.
How would that even... I mean, I'm not saying that I hadn't thought of it. All right. But it would have to be like a legitimate story reason for that accident to happen. If there is one. So, the night begins progressing on, and Frank tells you, me and Vandenberg can rest now, and in about 4 hours, start doing some patrols. We're going to need one other person who should walk around with you now, and then when the sun, in about 4 hours, we swap out.
I mean, I figure I'm pretty all right solo. I'm a little hard to sneak up on. So we'll just see. I'll see if I can't find me another volunteer. I figure the Pinkertons can hold things down in this car as long as they're here. And yeah, we'll just kind of keep an eye on things.
Okay. Then Malone and Vandenberg will go get some shut-eye. Because tomorrow comes, and you guys have about, as you're coming out of the mountains, only about a half day before you get into Kansas. I'm sorry. You're about to be in Kansas, and you only have a half day left. At most. All right. So the two of them will go to their respective areas and get some sleep. And so we're winding down. End of night, winding down.
Yeah, Ollie will walk the ladies to their room.
Okay.
Because, didn't you move, most of the ladies into, one car? At least, it was Miss McDade and Lorraine, I remember, were...
Yeah, and the
sharing
family
a
that
car or
lost
something.
the father.
So yeah, Ollie will escort everybody up to their car on his way to mosey towards the front and check on the engineer.
Oh, right. Well, the engineer is in one of the cars nearby, and he is, at this point in time, he has a wrap around his midsection, and he's got a crutch, and he is being fed bone broth and pancakes at this point. He's just like, give me whiskey and pancakes. I got to get back up to the front. So,
do the doctors say that that's okay?
He looks to. Are you asking him this?
Well, I have do the doctors immediately tell him no when he says he wants some food and wants to go up front? Do either of the actual medicinal authority figures scold him or anything?
No, they are currently not at the bar. I'm assuming that
Right.
if you're dropping the ladies off, that you had been in the car with the bar, and that's where the engineer's hanging out.
Sure. I mean, if they let him have a clear bill of health to get away from them, then Ollie will invite him along on the walk and help him get towards the...
All right. He will, if you're walking with him, he's greatly appreciated, as he has got a crutch at this point in time. He kind of needs it, and it's more like a well-modified cane. But he's going to use that to head toward the front of the train. All right. As you guys, the ladies are in the room, you guys are getting to the front of the first-class car where there's the bathroom. You hear a voice from behind you. It's a bit higher and younger sounding. And he says, "Mister, I can help."
Ollie will look around.
You see the little treacherous child, Natty, standing behind you in the little side walkway of the first class by all the doors. He has a small wooden rifle in his hands, and he's staring at you. He's got that, remember that long distance stare he had when he was at the end of the chair? Yeah, he's got it again. He's staring at you.
Yeah. Well, all right, Natty, since I see you got some iron on you, you come up front with us for a bit, and then you and I can patrol together on our way back towards the middle cars. How's that sound?
He gives a nod. All right, and then spits on the floor.
Good kid.
All right, you guys. Sort of a good kid, yeah. Well, I mean, at that time and age, I mean, probably if his mom saw him spit on the floor, she'd be mad, be like, "You need to spit off the train, don't spit on the floor. People step there," kind of scenario. But he's He's trying to show that he's tough in front of one of the toughest looking people he's ever seen in his life. You know?
It's fair.
Yes. When you guys get to the front of the train, probably about the special cargo car as you're walking through, and you're going, you two are having a conversation. The engineer said this is really odd. This is your conversation from him, in short, it's been pretty one-sided. He's a very gruff individual. Did I just cut out just then?
A little bit. Like, you're just dropping a syllable every now and then.
All right, let me try turning my gain down just a little bit, because I can see that my mic is peaking out, and so I'm trying to track it at this point in time to find what works best.
It just cut out when you said cutting out and point in time.
Okay.
Like the middle of the other parts of the sentence are just fine. Nothing is like unclear or crackly. It's just going quiet every now and then.
All right. Well, I am definitely making efforts to turn down my gain a decent amount. Let me know if it becomes hard to hear me, and I will keep an eye on this, and I appreciate your assistance. So, you're moving toward the front of the train. You're about the special cargo car. The engineer has been saying, this is not normal. I go on this route quite a bit, and I've never had to deal with this.
Yeah, the Padre had some concerns and such, and I don't know, gift of prophecy or whatever. I don't know. There's a thing in the cargo hold that he has sealed up pretty tight in the name of the church, which I figure is a pretty big name. So we think it might have something to do with that, but I mean, we're on the last stretch, so hopefully we'll get limping into Dodge without any more trouble.
And he gives a nod, and you guys are passing through that car at this point in time. Do you point it out to him?
I do not, because we also have a rambunctious kid with us, and I don't want him to know which one to immediately get curious about.
That is actually quite fair. I can appreciate that.
I have been a young boy before. If you go, listen, God says not this one. This box right here, then you're just kind of looking for trouble.
All right. So as you guys are leaving this car, having this conversation, the car, there's a noise. It's kind of hard to describe it, but it definitely sounds. Everybody, I do imagine, has heard what it sounds like when two cars hit, two automobiles. Boom! That poppy boom noise. Automobiles are really kind of sturdy metal balloons. This is not two metal balloons hitting each other. These are two solid pieces of steel. So at high speeds, they make a kunk noise, and it reverberates in all directions. And that kunk noise is heard at a distance, and it reaches you guys well before the whole shifting of the train happens. Because the train, the engineer, would have seen it because he had been paying attention, but the shoveler doesn't know to look for this. A section of track had become slightly jarred, and so when the train hits it at the speeds it's reached, the whole train shifts violently to one side, more so than you guys have actually dealt with in the past. When that happens, the front car takes the engine actually takes like a decent brunt of it, but then it starts whipping down the length of the train, and it gets worse as you go farther back. So as you guys feel it, like it shakes the whole car train pretty violently, and this causes the engineer to become wide-eyed and start making a faster movement toward the front of the train. And he says, "We're going too fast."
Well, luckily we're heading in the right direction to fix that, huh? Let's just maybe pick up the pace a little.
All right. Meanwhile, several cars back as the wave travels down it. You ladies have moved into your car. You've had a chance to rest. Lorraine has changed just some bedding clothes. When the wave hits you guys, I'm imagining you're laying down or sitting down, reading or something, doing like a
Yeah, I need 1d6 hours of sleep anyway, so I would probably take advantage of that.
Okay. All right. So you've actually laid down, and so what happens for you is you're getting woke up as you're getting thrown out of your bed. By the time it gets back to the eighth car, the wave has gotten kind of big enough to like shake people out of beds, knock things off, and as it heads down toward the back end of the car, it's starting to slow down. It's starting to be less troublesome, but it's enough that you two are now awake. We're going to jump back over to Ollie. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, just like something about like, oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah. Ollie, you get to as you guys hustle, the engineer is now hustling as fast as he possibly can. The kid is following along. Natty is following along behind you. You guys get to the front of the engine. The small, withered, crooked-looking man is turning knobs, pulling levers, digging hot coal out, and he's throwing it onto the deck next to him. You know, there's still those holes there that are in the actual engine, and he's pulling on stuff. The engineer begins yelling, "Pull the brake handle! Pull the brake handle! Ride the..." And he's again yelling, but remember, the crippled old man just does not seem to respond.
Can I like take a shortcut, like scramble up and over the coal type of thing to like get past people?
Yes.
Yeah, so Ollie will go scrambling on up. He'll just, kind of thrust his rifle into the engineer's hands, like, hold this a tick, and then just go scrambling and dashing up front. Yeah, he'll make a break for the brakes.
Make a nimbleness check at a foolproof of 3.
I will, but only once I find it on my character sheet. That's a 7.
Excellent. You make it to the brake. You know what you're looking for. It's kind of a popular item on the engine. And you grab a hold of it and begin pulling. The engineer yells that you have to clasp the copper handle all the way back, or the brass handle all the way back, and you squeeze and the whole thing begins to move, and you can hear the scream. Metal on metal, the wheels begin fighting against the momentum of the forward momentum of the entire mass of the engine. Everything begins going. The shoveler begins yelling, I tried, and he's beginning yelling, I tried, and the engineer's yelling, and you grab the other brake, turn down the boiler, and he's barking orders as he's trying to get up there. And when him and Natty arrive, he's been making adjustments. He's having problems doing things, and he's trying to convince the shoveler to do things, but the shoveler's just panicking again. And he turns to Natty, and he says, "Boy, I need you to grab that lever and pull it down as far as you can." And Natty doesn't even pause. He grabs a hold of the lever and be throwing his entire 40 pounds on top of it to pull it down. And it clicks. And the engine begins releasing a shit ton of steam and making a ton of noise. Not only are sparks flying, but the stack itself is screaming a massive whistle. Everybody in the train can hear it. Everybody in the train begins kind of moving around, trying to figure out what's going on. Oh my goodness. As those who are in the farther back of the train can see that the engine is not only lit by the fire that's spewing out from it, but also the sparks that are coming out from underneath it at the same time. The high-pitched sound begins resonating throughout the entirety of the train. It's like, because everybody can hear it. It's like, oh man, that's loud. Whatever. As you are holding the brake, the squeal, the squelchy sound seems to cause a different passenger on the train more problems than just you guys and being a loud noise. You can hear that voice, and it begins to scream. But what also comes along with the screaming is thudding and banging.
We can all hear this?
Only Lorraine and Ollie.
Does Lorraine tell me?
Yes, as she bolts
All
on.
right. I've had it. So this whole train track has been going along the river, correct?
Yes. No. Actually, it has not followed the river. Sadly enough, whenever they set it up, they drew literally a straight line from Little Rock to Dodge City for this. So I don't know why. You can scroll down. I will show you where the train track is at. I just blipped the roll 20. If you saw that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Let's see. Where's
And we
that?
just
Go ahead.
we just crossed into Kansas, right?
Yes. So, and if we go back up to the other one, that's definitely far away from the river. Because it's like, whatever reason, a straight line.
All right. Well, I'm fast and I've had it. So, and they're stopping the train anyway at this point. So, Lorraine, come with me.
Okay.
I'm gonna head to the car where the damn box is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna tell Lorraine. I'm sorry, I'm fed up with this box. So I'm gonna tell Lorraine to stay in this the car right before that one and keep an eye out. But don't let anyone come inside. That I'm gonna handle this once and for all.
Sure. All right.
All right. So I'm gonna go inside and I'm gonna try I'm gonna get the box off that Ollie had put on top, and I am gonna pick up this damn box, go to the back of the car, jump off the train, run to the river, and drown this thing. Done.
All right. So I'm assuming you're waiting for the. I assume that you're waiting for the train to actually come to a stop.
I mean, it's pretty slow at this point, right?
Yes. So I mean, you wait till it comes to a full stop. Wait till it comes to a rolling stop, whichever one you want.
Roll and stop. I can take it.
Excellent. All right.
This is what God put me on this train to do.
Teslin is calling out for you to jump. All right.
It's happening.
You get to the livestock car. You tell Lorraine to stay here. I'm going to take care of this. You go into the next car, and as you move over, you grab the box in question that is covering it up and move it off to a side. The box is kind of smoky and slightly burnt. You can see what looks to be Christian scripture written all over it that is not burning, but everything else about the box is burning, and the stone itself seems to be radiating what you could best be described as heat.
All right, this is gonna hurt, but we're gonna do it.
All right.
And if I can run fast enough, maybe it'll help cool it. Gonna spend some chips on this, I think.
All right. So you grab a hold of it.
Oh
it
yeah,
up.
and I'm gonna kind of whisper a prayer, like to try to build that strength of that the scripture that's on that box. I'll take any help I can get right now.
Alrighty then. And I do believe that is a spirit roll from you and a spirit roll from me. What's your spirit?
What roll for me?
Spirit. And what is your spirit?
My spirit is 3d10.
Go ahead, roll it. All right. You reach out. Go ahead.
I don't like that, so I would like to go ahead and use a red chip.
Sure.
So I make the same roll and it adds to it, or I only get one more D10?
It's just one more,
Gotcha.
but it does add to it. So
That makes it a 14. You can do another one.
I hate you so much. I'm gonna do it. I'm so scared. All right.
So 20.
Some reason it's telling me that there are 23 chips in people's hands, 63 unplayed, but it won't allow me to play anymore. Silliness is this. Let's hit the refresh button.
It's just God's way of saying that you don't get to use your chips right now, Max.
I actually do get to use my chips right now.
Max!
Okay, so let me try dealing myself another chip. 2, actually.
Yeah, like on my end, it's not showing anywhere near. It's got 3, 5, and 6 that I can see.
I'm just going to shuffle what it's got and see what happens. Yeah, hopefully this doesn't pick up your chips. I apologize if this picks up your chips ahead of time. I've never seen the program actually do this. Oh, maybe that fixed it.
I've got mine scribbled down on my character sheet every week, so.
That fixed it. It was just like, hey, shuffle me. I want to be shuffled. So it's shuffled. All right. I also lost your dice roll, but luckily I can see it on the roll 20. Sorry.
I think I rolled a 75.
Yes.
Well, yeah, but then you use the red chips too. So.
Yeah.
So 116.
All right. You grab a hold of the box, and as you begin to move it, the thing inside you begins to wiggle. And as you drag it out, whatever it is, says you can't throw that off. It doesn't say it verbally like through words. It forces your hands to start pushing it back, and you realize that you're fighting yourself. And then finally, at some point in time, whatever's trying to stop you from moving it isn't inside the box, it's inside you. You're struggling with like an inner demon for whatever reason to throw away this box. And so at some point in time it breaks, it stops fighting you, and you pick the box up. It's a rather heavy box too. Not that you can't pick it up, but it definitely feels you have to kind of like drag it toward the side of the car. Do you
need me to make a roll or anything for strength?
No, there's no dice. The strength roll would be along like picking it up and throwing it at somebody quickly.
Gotcha.
Do you want to drag it to the side of the car or the front or the back of the car?
I think Lorraine was at the front of the car, so I would want to go to the back of the car so that I can open that door and jump off with it.
Sure. All right. You drag it to the side of the car. You drag it to the front of the car and lift with your knees. Now this is the dice roll. It's going to be a strength test and a a strength test to lift it from the train. The train's coming to a stop, and to get it onto the ground. Do you want to get it onto the ground safely, or do you just want to toss it out?
I don't want the box to break because I don't want to touch the stone.
Okay. All right. It is an onerous, and I apologize for not saying it before you made your dice roll, which is a 7. And so you wait for a moment when the ground is slowing down, and so you step off and then grab the box at the same time. It's heavy, it leers to the ground and hits into the dirt and kind of slides a little bit, but now you're off the train.
Whew. Step 1 complete. Time for step 2.
Which step 2?
Step 2 is hoisting it up so that I can run with it and trying to be as fast as possible.
All right. As you begin taking it away from the train and getting into the grass and You can kind of tell the contour of the land. You're looking for the river, I assume?
Yes.
Okay. You're going to take a point of wind because it's heavy and you're carrying a heavy object. I'm going to be dulling these out as you move forward. By the way, this is like
Sure.
tension building kind of thing as you're physically active, rushing it away from the train. I'm going to make a spot check for nobody to notice you jumped off because I don't think anybody would be looking.
I mean, I imagine most people aren't looking like towards the rear of the train, like while it's screaming and shaking and shooting fire and sparks.
Yeah,
like,
it's also
I'd be
dark.
looking
It's also
front.
night.
Yeah. Oh, right. You get to a point where you get the box to a ravine. You're looking down. It's a deep gully. There's water below. It's probably about a good 25, 30-foot drop from here.
I'd like to check how deep the water is.
It's going to take a bit to get down this kind of like cliff facing and into it to see. The way
As long as I can climb back out too, I'm fine with it.
It doesn't look like it's going to be an easy kind of thing. Like it's not going to take you 10 minutes to get done. If you're concerned like the train leaving you and stuff, but I mean, this is God's work.
Yeah.
Right.
This is what I'm hoping that since the train was stopping, it'd be stopped for a little while they get that engine fixed. So
That's true. All right. As you pick the crate up and begin heading down the cliffside, you're kind of like you're letting it go down the cliffside a little bit and carrying it at the same time. We're going to do another spirit check. As you've wrestled with the thing on the inside, it's like, no.
yeah.
And your spirit was 3d10?
Yes.
All right. What chips do I have?
I think you said you got rid of all of them. I think that was. I remember you saying that.
Looks like
I
I've
think
got a
so,
white
too.
chip here. We're going to change that to a 4d10.
Take that, demon.
There we go, right? It begins fighting against you, going, no, take it back. Put it back on the train. No, take it back. Put it back on the train. You begin going down the cliff facing, the steepness of it. The trains come to a stop, Ollie. You got there's smoke, there's noise. The engine's kind of like just letting out a lot of steam.
I figure Ollie's probably got like 1 foot like braced against like the front panel, and like he was just heaving on that lever as hard as he could. So he'll let it drop and be like, "Whew, driving a train's a little more exciting than I thought."
The engineer gives a nod and then tells Natty, take that pin off the wall and stick it in that hole down there next to his right foot. And Natty does, and then the engineer tells you can let go of the brake.
I will do so.
A moment of pause as there's like it's dark, it's late, the engine's stopped, there's a lot less noise, and the thought that you're no longer plummeting down the side of a hill is kind of comforting.
Yeah, not being killed by something entirely beyond my control, like the hurtling mass of a train. That's not how any gunslinger wants to go. Like you can't finesse your way out of that. So he's like, yeah, all right, good and stopped. Here we go.
All right. What would you like to do, Ollie? Now that the train's come to stop, hang out with the engineer, go wandering back through the train and check on people?
He'll give Natty's head a tousle, the way little kids hate.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, well, it's just a good thing we brought you up here with us, huh? Mom, let's go check on the women folk and see if they need a couple of big straw men.
He gives a nod. Go ahead.
You sure you don't want to stay and hang out with the conductor?
I'm pretty sure I don't. So yeah, we'll just head generally back towards mid-train and look for Natty's, I believe his mom. Was his dad the one that died? Yeah, that's too bad. That's it. We'll go looking for his mom.
No, Natty's father did not die. Natty's father is still alive.
Oh, okay. Well, then we'll go looking for his parents to, kind of get rid of him. And to let them know that he did a good job and stuff.
There we go. All right. You get back to the special cargo car, and as you walk through it, as you get to the other side, where the livestock car is at, Lorraine is standing there on the edge of the livestock train car by herself. And she's just looking as you come out. She says immediately, "Where's Miss McDade?"
I ain't seen her. We was busy up front, putting a stop to this runaway train.
She stares at you strange and immediately pushes past you, calling out, "Anne! Anne!"
I will follow.
She runs up and she gets to the point where the box is supposed to be.
Well, hell. You saying Miss McDade took this thing?
She says, "I do not know. We heard... And she looks around for a moment. "Ollie, I must tell you something. I am not crazy."
Okay. I'm probably not either.
"I am hearing a voice in my head. And it screams."
Yeah, okay, just 1 second here. Listen, Natty, you go find your folks. Make sure that everyone's all right after the train stopped like this. You go check on the folk in the passenger car, all right?
All right. He makes a...
You gotta shoving the kid away.
It's just... He makes a noise with his mouth similar to the sound of a shotgun cocking while making the same kind of hand action with his wooden rifle, and then spits on the ground and heads off to go find his folks.
All right, he's a good kid. So yeah, maybe you heard a voice screaming real loud and then kind of a thumping sound right about the time the train started coming to a stop.
With tears in her eyes, she looks to you and goes, "I did, and it scares me because it's been talking to me."
Yeah, and maybe last night, right before the gunfight stopped, you heard it offering to teach you something powerful that you would need to stay alive.
Her eyes are giant saucers in fear. She's stepping back away from you.
But see, good news. That means we aren't crazy together.
She's like, "You hear it too?"
Not right this second, but yeah, I heard something. There's some queer stuff going on around here, and we're traveling some devil's stone cross country and fighting, glowing Indians and such, and the Padre pulled down a miracle, and I seen some weird stuff out on the trails in my day. You, got your cards and your runes and whatnot, so, yeah, just fair something evil in the box trying to tempt folk and stuff. So yeah, that brings me back around to Miss McDade. You're saying she's missing and the box is missing. Did you know that she had some plans for that box?
She told me nothing. She just said she is tired of this and she's going to take care of it. I don't know what that means.
Well, it looks like she didn't have no dynamite hiding in her skirt, because we probably would have noticed if she tried to take care of it that way. I reckon that means she's taking that thing and just kind of hauling it away from the train. But I have not been able to confirm that nefarious rumor, and it would be wrong, and theft and stuff from the honorable folk at Hellston Industries and, I don't know, something like that. But I figure we got more pressing business than worrying about that right this second. So let's just maybe keep an eye out for Miss McDade coming back, and we'll worry about the accuracy of the cargo manifest later. Or leave it to Bixby and them such what's getting paid to do so.
She can't have gone far. The train just stopped. We should look for her.
Yeah, maybe. All right, come over this way, miss. And we'll head towards like the ladder at the end of one of the cars. And Ollie will grab her by the waist and try to help her up the ladder politely. They go, listen, we'll just get us some high ground and we'll take a look from up here.
All right, so the two of you can make searching rolls. Well, you can make a searching roll. She's not going to search. She doesn't have a stat. And as we get back to the river, you've got this thing dragged down. And at this point in time, the markings, the scripture that is on the outside of the box have all but burnt away. And normal wood has returned.
That's not good.
The thing inside you wiggles and says loudly, "Put it back." And not in words, but feelings. Pick it up and walk back to the train. And so you find yourself, grab a hold of it, hoist it up, and begin climbing back up the wall without control. Make a spirit check.
Lord, please be with me and help me with this task.
All right. The good news is it wants this to happen, and so it's going to spend chips again on this spirit check.
If I spend white chips now, do I get more dice to roll?
That is correct. You can spend
Okay.
the chips anytime you want.
But remember, you don't have to declare whites, like you don't have to declare them ahead of time. The only rule there is once you use a red or a blue, you can't go back to whites. But before that, like you can just roll and see if you get lucky with a crazy exploding die, or you can dole out like one chip at a time to use white.
All right, I'll start with my normal roll, but I'm terrified.
14.
Gulp.
I don't think it's enough. I'm going to toss in a red.
Oh, no, I don't like it.
It's now a 14. No, sorry, it's now a 19.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna spend some chips too. I'll spend one white to see if I can get a 10,
Yes.
just to gamble, and then if not, I might start throwing some reds in.
Okay.
Close, but no cigar, so it's time for a red, and we're gonna add to it.
Okay.
One more time.
Another red.
Whew.
Nice.
That's a 21 versus a 19.
I get to
unless
deal
my math
myself 2 chips.
I regret all my life choices.
I have dealt myself 2 chips. One of them is a red.
Does that mean I can draw a chip?
No. As you begin praying and struggling, fighting against this creature, whatever is happening right now, the struggle, you're pushing it downhill. It's trying to bring it back up the hill. And it says nothing except... It asks for nothing but obedience at this time. How am I not... Why did it not work? What did I do wrong? Oh, I didn't put a space. You gotta put a space. I forgot that part. So I'm at a 19. You're at a 21. If I roll a 1, you win. If I roll a 2, we tie. Sadly,
Come on, glitch.
ties don't go to you.
Glitch! God! Well, there it is then. I'm out of red chips.
You guys get to the high ground. moving up the hills a little bit and begin looking around.
Oh no, we were just going on top of the train car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we just. I was just lifting her up, like helping her up the ladder, up to the top of the train. Does that mess with your plans?
No.
Okay, like if you had a scene planned out, like we could change our mind or whatever. Like if you were, but yeah, I was just planning to help her up on top of the train, and call that the high ground.
Okay. No, that's a perfectly good high ground. You guys are up, looking around. To some benefit, the sun is starting to peak up a little bit, so the skies are lighting up. The moon is still kind of out. There's plenty of stars, so it's lit enough that you guys can see almost details about everything. Trees are dark things are dark, but light things contrast and provide opportunity just to see. Walking down the length of the train track, you see from where you're standing on the car, it's kind of like moving from this car, hop to the next one, look for anything.
And like he stops at like each one. He stops to like hold his hand out and help her out a little bit, and being all chivalrous and such.
She spends a lot of attention, like looking out and being cautious as she moves around. She's not as nimble or dexterous as you. So as you move to one car and then maybe the third car down the line, as you guys have gotten to the end of the livestock car, now it's the flat cars beyond here. You're not high ground at this point. The flat cars, there are 3 of them. And at the third flat car on the side of the hill where it's like rocky and grassy and stuff, there's an area in which the ground has been built up for the purpose of the train. You see what looks to be Miss McDade walking along the side of the train. You spot her. You got a what on your search?
I got a 5.
Yeah, that's good enough to spot her in the darkness of the night, the lit, what is that? Light, low light. I don't know what to say.
Kind of in between Twilight-ish, I'd say. Yeah, Ollie will he'll like stop looking at Miss Lorraine's profile against the beginning of sunup, and be like, oh, well, there she is, as he glances down and gives a little nod towards Miss McDade.
Lorraine, upon being shown her, is like, oh, and she begins trying to climb down carefully down the ladder and get off the car, and she begins like hustling over to Anne as quickly as possible.
I will head along with her.
You get up to where they're at. Lorraine has caught up to her. She immediately throws herself toward. Anne's just standing there. You notice the crate is on the ground next to her. And Lorraine throws herself on her, and they hug for a moment or two, and then Anne reaches down and with 2 hands grabs the crate and begins kind of like dragging it a little bit.
Miss McDade? I was under the impression we was getting rid of that.
As Anne looks at you, you can see that she's actually crying. Like tears are rolling down her cheeks, and she's like, I can't do it. It won't let me. I tried. I was almost there, and it won.
Okay, well, ladies, how about you stop touching that and climb back on the train?
Lorraine takes a step back as she's trying to understand the magnitude of the situation. And, what are you talking? She's like, what do you mean
and
you lost?
And without meaning to, Ollie will probably be, like, angling like his body, like he's getting ready to draw and shoot. Like he's not going for a gun or anything, but it's just like in any sort of tense situation, he probably kind of unconsciously like blades his body a little bit and gets his balance and stuff. So like he's not meaning it to sound like a challenge, but like his body language is immediately tensing up because he knows that this box is full of bad mojo.
And you want to not do this, but you grab the box at this point in time, and she picks it up with two hands. And she sets it up right, and she seems to be struggling a little bit with it because I imagine you have not stopped fighting at this point in time.
Heck no! Let me know when I can make another roll.
Because I've already ran out of red chip. I've already ran out of red chips.
Miss McDay, let's go on. Let's put that box down.
I can't. It won't let me. I start to cry a little harder.
I do have the soothing voice, which is, I mean, soothing, but like mechanically it's a +2 on rolls to like calm people down or do pleasant stuff like singing and, you know, that sort of thing. But I don't know if a persuasion roll might be an option.
I'm up for that. You're basically trying to persuade her natural, spiritual kind of to get another dice roll. I'm not going to make it easy, though. I'm going to make it a hard.
Put that thing down.
It's a 9. You need to roll better than a 9 or better.
What is the penalty for not having the skill? Is it -2 if you're rolling just your attribute? Sorry, if you're rolling the trait, not the aptitude.
I will check.
Okay.
I have it in here. I put it in my cheat sheet.
For now, I'm going to roll it without the -2 and with the +2 from Persuade, and we can do the math in a...
Sure. Actions, surprise, cheating.
Well, that's some shitty-ass rolls. I'm going to start slinging a couple of whites around.
Okay, no. Recovery, burst fire, 2 gun. Okay.
You keep looking that up, and I'm going to see if I can roll better than a 4 on the so far 4d8 that I've rolled.
I am definitely watching out of the corner of my eye as your dice rolling here is definitely an art form.
All right. So with the +2 from the soothing voice, that would get me to a 9. But again, I thought there was a penalty for not having an aptitude.
And this is why I like to have James around, because he could have just spouted out. So if I click here and I change this little icon around, I can check my drive for his books. Apologize to everybody watching this as we dig around through some rules.
Sometimes these 90s era games have bits of crunch hidden in weird...
Yes. Martial Core Player Guide. Here we go. All right. Control F. Unskill. Oh, look. There's 11 different options for unskilled. Let's go to the next one. Sometimes you have to make an aptitude check when lo and behold you discover you don't actually have the aptitude. In these cases, you get to roll 1 die, just as if your character had a level in the skill. The downside is he has to subtract a -4, the unskilled penalty from the final test. Why can't you use... But if your character has a skill that is similar, you can make that skill test, but you still take a -4. Let's see.
Well, the good news is all my initial dice were garbage. So rolling 1d8 instead of like the 2d8 would be a wash. The bad news is with that penalty, I'm now looking at a 5. And I was needing a 9, you said?
Yes.
All right, let's drop another white chip, see what happens.
Good luck. That's
Not enough.
That didn't open anything up. The only left option is that blue chip that you've got stored away.
Yeah. All right, so she was like propping it upright at this point, or and she's not responding to trying to be nice.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of tossing this blue chip that only has a 50-50 chance of getting me that 9, Ollie is instead going to make eye contact with Miss McDade and put his hand on the grip of his rune-encrusted Lamont revolver that the dead ranger gave him. He says, "You gotta let go of that thing, either Miss McDade or the thing that's got a hold of her." And I'm going to make an overall roll and make it an intimidate check instead.
Okay.
Because I figure that critter can't do anything if I kill Miss McDade. Like, it can't keep manipulating her. And maybe it can't get another host or whatever. So yeah, I'm just going to turn it into an intimidation check.
There's another option that our audience decides to toss in some points to help take out the trail boss. Get some chips heading in that direction. This is your chance out there to help Ann out and help out Ollie. But I'll let that move forward if you guys want to do it that way.
We could use the chips.
Trail boss has been brought down to 1,500.
Because that was a lot of whites that did not do me a whole lot of good. But, so yeah, I do have the stare, which gives me a +2 on this roll. So let's see if I can stare down the devil in that box.
All right, I'm up for this. I'm going to set your difficulty at a hard, not an incredible, which is a 9 again.
There's a 9.
Woo!
So, sorry about that, Sarah. I tried the nice way. I didn't want to go straight towards a steely-eyed stare down, but I'm a little better at those than the others.
Hey, the alternative is you could have just shot me. So, I mean, I'll take
Right?
the,
Like, he is even better at that. So, this is still a moderate response.
Yep. I know.
And I'm hoping maybe the devil in that box or whatever will pick up the threat in a Hex Slinger's rune-encrusted 6-gun a little bit more than it might otherwise. Because it doesn't know what I can do with this thing any better than I do.
That's very true. How dangerous are you really? All right. Anne, you get to make another spirit check.
Hooray! Let's hope for the best, guys. A whole 7.
That is not the best.
No. Oh, I beat him though.
By 1. Yes.
Still
Yes.
beat you.
Still 1. There's a moment, her eyes quiver, and you realize things have changed as she, instead of taking her hand off, she pushes on the crate and it falls over and begins sliding down the rocky cliff. Anne McDade collapses
She's not going
to the
after
ground.
it. That's
No, she doesn't. She just collapses into the ground, crying.
I'll say, thank you, Ollie. Thank you for that.
Ollie will snatch his hand away from the gun as though he, like, grabbed something hot. Like for a second, it'll occur to him just how quickly he turned to, like, threatening to shoot her. But he's like, oh, damn. Well, it worked. Miss Lorraine, and he'll nod towards Miss McDade and like hope that Lorraine will go up there and console her and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's gonna glare at that box as it slides away down the hill, and like make sure that it keeps moving.
It does. It'll like
You better
crash
keep walking
and
away.
bang and then fall into some bushes out of sight. So I mean, it's not like it's like whoosh off on a new journey in its own little life or anything. It's crash, bang, roll, 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 and fall into some bushes.
All right, it didn't like levitate and come back towards us or whatever, so I'm in the clear.
That would be supernaturally like weird and not very horror-like.
Right?
This is a horror game. All right, Lorraine will collapse on top of you, and she will begin to cry and say how she was worried about you, and how you disappeared and stuff like that. And we are actually past the end point of our show. Wow, like 11 minutes over. Look at that. What a end. Train's stranded in the middle of nowhere. The Devil Rock is now gone. Whew.
That was stressful.
All those chips burnt through. All
I
right.
think this is
Yeah.
our biggest chip expenditure of a session this time.
Yeah, it was also, these dice were not our friends like they have been in prior rolls. There's been times where like, oh, I've got 1d10. There's a 47. And this time it was like, yeah, I've got 5d8. There's a 4. Like, so yeah, this was some dice mojo catching up with us, I think.
I remember an Indian who was less than 5 feet away from Anne's character and opened fire with 8 shots and missed every single one.
Yeah, so I
I
guess
just
we
didn't fire that much fear.
All right.
Yeah, we just had some bad luck coming, I guess.
So, well, Lady Luck has definitely pulled herself in a different direction. You guys have definitely had... I had a great time. This was a lot of fun.
Me too.
Heck yeah.
Any bounty today?
Yes. All right. So, where's my little notebook? I've been marking things down as we go. You guys found the name Perez, which is good.
And I figure like whatever you've got in your notes, we're going to get that plus 11 bounty for going over, right? Like we get overtime pay.
Well, first we're going to have to get like it authorized through Congress, and then it's got to get voted on in the House and the Senate, and it's got to get off the president's desk, and then we'll see how that
Right,
works out.
never mind.
Luckily, all those people are you.
That's so true. That is so very true. All right, so that's properties. This is filters. I'll play with this in a second. 1, 2, 3. Oh, what was that really cool thing that you did with Anne? That was like, oh man, that was awesome. Was the way you,
My talk with Walters.
Yes, that's another one for you there. So you get a +1 for that. Dealing with Natty is another +1 for you as well. I like that. He's like, oh, because you didn't reject him and send him packing. You were like, come on, kid. If we all die up in the engine, you'll die with us.
Heck yeah.
Yay! Cool dad.
Yeah, exactly. So
Always more of a cool uncle, I think.
definitely. So we've got 3 from the game plus you guys' +1, so that's pretty much 4 for both of you. 2.
All right.
3. Oh. And at this point, it is a definite telltale if like the trains come to a stop and you guys have now got rid of the rock. So that's because that's supposed to happen actually later. So you guys are ahead. That's 2 bounty. That's supposed to come later in the module, the whole setup. So you guys are going to get another. So that's 6 for this one because you got rid of the rock.
Awesome.
Here we go.
You're welcome for my poor decision-making skills.
I don't know if it was poor decision making so much as poor impulse control.
You could have also fought the rock.
Fought it. Punched the rock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't want to touch that thing. That thing burned a guy alive.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we've got
So,
some
all right.
bounty dished up.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hopefully it was a good time, even without a bunch of gunfights and such. I know Miss McDade didn't get to eviscerate anybody.
Worst episode ever.
So we're going to go around and talk about our personal stuff real quick, like what we do and how you guys can hang out more with us and stuff like that. And we will start off with Sarah, because she has oh my goodness.
Yeah, I've got a lot going on. So we just wrapped filming on the Chicago Shadows trailer. Oh, hi, Bodhi. And I got to see the first rough cut edit, and it's so cool. So that'll be premiering in June. So follow us on social media so that you can be up to date. We're starting to release photos from the shoot and everything, so we're really excited about that. We've got a new piece of short fiction up, and then my real big push while we're going through COVID-19 breakout is that it's really affecting conventions. A lot are getting canceled, and small businesses. So our social media accounts at Ram Alternus are promoting some of those small vendors. So if you or someone you know has a small business that is going to be hit and affected by this, and that's hurting your income or your friend's income, reach out, and we want to promote you for free during this time. So please, I'll drop the links into chat.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Rusty, that is a beautiful pupper.
Thank you, and yes, she agrees. Bodhi is many things. None of them are humble. She abandoned me. Now that it's my turn. All right. I guess for my own thing, I just want to remind everybody to stay safe out there while the world is ending in plagues and fire and locusts and stuff. Do whatever local authorities say. Please don't be a hoarder that snatches up those masks that nurses need. But while you're at home looking for stuff to do and doing that whole social distance thing, please consider maybe doing a quick search for Russell Zimmerman on Amazon and go see what cool books pop up and then leave a cool review, because that's always neat. Or check us out next Sunday here on Twitch on the Shadowcaster Network channel, and you can go to YouTube and do a search for A Sea of Spears, and you can get yourself all caught up on our Song of Ice and Fire game. And we'll have a good old time, and hopefully we'll see you there next Sunday. So basically, it's every Sunday afternoon you should hang out and game with me.
It's pretty epic. Now it's my turn. I am part of Pure Alchemy Soaps, i.e. I help my wife lift heavy objects. She is currently offering free shipping for the rest of March, considering that with conventions closing for us, that is having an effect. And so here is her Etsy page. So free shipping. She has soaps, hand sanitizers, and liquid soaps, as well as bath salts. So go check it out. See some of her stuff. This is the original box set page. Copy, paste. There's that.
I love that Cassie literally has potions of prevent disease. So very timely right now. Buy them all up.
Absolutely.
And she has quite a number of them. As far as it goes for shipping, ships internationally. Radio is one of our great friends, and he has purchased from us, and stuff will make it to you. There's no question about that. But free shipping for the rest of the month of March. So that's like for the next 2 weeks. Let's see. There's our original box set. It's got our calendar. Pay attention to our calendar. I'm working harder to keep it up to date. Like everybody else has said, we're all being affected. Stay safe out there. It is a scary time, but we can all make it through it, and there will be a tomorrow. And in the meantime, since a lot of us are stuck at home, we'll just hop online and play more games and hang out.
I'm in.
Yep.
Right. So yeah, sounds like a plan to me.
All right. Well, I think I'm good. Everybody else good?
I am. I've got tacos waiting for me, so I'm great.
Sweet. Well, then I will go ahead and hit the closing scene. We've got some credits. They got the pictures in them and stuff like that. Enjoy the music. It's all Creative Commons and licensed stuff for us. Peace out.
Bye.
Wayfaring stranger, traveling through that bright land to which I go. I'm going there to see my mother. I'm going there, no more to roam. I'm just going over Jordan. I'm just